I was a mean kid. I wasn't burning nets, but I was burning other
That
stuff.
ain't mean. That's just that.
3, 2, 1, 0.
You're listening to the Knives Templars.
All right. Hey, this is Chip Carlisle, and I'm with the Knives Templars, and here we are with episode number 12, and they are adding up. So we've got a dozen this week, and we're just one short of a baker's dozen, but I am very excited about this particular episode. Couple things. We are wanting you to know that Joey Theriault is down in the sand making sandcastles this week with the family. We've got Chris Jones, whose wife said, "Hey, we have something planned tonight," and I made a call to a friend of mine that I have been friends with. Well, we're best friends now. I think we are, but we're best friends, and we'll find out why here in a minute. But I made a call, said, "Hey, Jason Fry, can you come on our show?" Because it was. I tell you what, he just fit right in with the group last week. On top of that, we've got Eric Rivers, and somebody's trying to determine the size of the the black water tank they're going to need in their trailer because he's into trailer sales. So they're just trying to determine how full they are of it. So when they're out on the road, just how big a tank they're going to need. And I think that's everybody that's off the show. Wait. I forgot one. I've got a message coming in here right now. I didn't know what it was, but he's updated me. Let me see. This is from Matthew. Matthew says, let me get it here. Okay, there it is. It says, Chip, I'm running a little late. I've been suffering from constipation all week and went to see a homeopathic doctor who is performing a colonic today with sphincter electrical stimulation. And they didn't realize how large his colon was. It was bigger than they predicted. So he says they got him emptied out, and he'll be in here shortly. So when he gets on, let's all welcome him in there because we all know a colonic. I've never experienced one, but I would assume it's not a fun experience. So Jason Fry, welcome to the show. It's great to have a knife builder like you on the show again this week.
Hey, glad to be back.
We are tickled to have you here. And Otis Sear from Laurel, Maryland. How are you doing, brother?
Doing great. Happy to be here.
Just happy you're not on the table next to Matthew Rich, right?
Very.
Poor guy. Constipation is a bad thing. I think the only thing
he's
worse.
He's coming in. He just sent a message. He said he's going to be here like in 2 or 3 minutes.
Oh, good. He must have got dried up. So he's a good guy. He's a trooper for coming in. And on top of that, the Pop's Knife Supplies, we are doing the Maker's Mark series with them, and I think that has just been so cool. We've got a gentleman on the show by the name of Don Watson, who's coming to us about 35 miles from Tampa, Florida. And Don, we want to welcome you to the show this week.
Thank you, Chip. Appreciate it. I'm glad to be on here, man.
Oh, we are tickled. We are tickled. We've been seeing some beautiful stuff you've been making. Yep, and I just got a note that Matthew is he is on his way in here as well. Hey, what's really kind of cool about this is that we've got the Knives Templars, and that's just a name we've named our team, but really this whole thing spreads out to just about anybody that makes a knife. It's that's what we wanted this to become, was a community, and we've got the 6 of us that come on here regularly every week or two, and now we've extended it out to 3 members, and calling and saying, hey, can you be on the show, and here they are. So I tell you what, there's room for 6 million Templars. Only 7 at a time, because we can only get 7 in the room. But there's room for 6 million Templars out there. So anybody that's joining us for episode number 12, we're glad you are here. Matthew Rich, microphone check. Check. Let's hear you, brother.
Check. Good evening, guys. Good evening. It's good to be here and talking with you.
That is the... Okay. Yeah, did everything come out okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything was great. Yeah.
Well, we're getting a little bit of an echo from you right now. Just they must have really cleaned you out, brother.
Yeah. I didn't get the echo cancellation, I guess.
Yeah, let me.
Yeah, I missed that procedure.
Yeah, I'll see if I can't work on that. That's something else here.
Yeah.
Echo is gone.
Gross. Good job.
So, we're back. We had to turn off our recording there for a second. I'll have to match all this up. But just in case, welcome to episode 12 of the Knives Templars. And, hey, Matthew, with that echo coming in like that, like I said, we said they must have really cleaned your colon out well because, there's a lot of noise moving around in there now. How do you feel?
Yeah, I feel pretty hollowed out. I feel pretty cleansed, I guess.
A colonic is one heck of a great procedure right here. Not for me, but for some of you. Anyway, you guys know that I'm joking. Matthew, his wife, they're going to have a new baby, and he's doing a little taking care of everybody around the house, getting some cooking done tonight, and making some knives and doing some cool stuff. So, hey, the life of a hard-working husband. We're glad you're here.
Right. Hey, I got to be a dad first,
Yeah. So, Jason, what have you been doing the last week? He's laughing like I'm going to start talking about colonics with him. But
And I've been around the country a little
you
bit.
have. Tell us about it. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so when I was with you guys last week, I was in a hotel in Michigan. And then Monday I flew back home, so now I'm down in Lubbock. In between, I had a nice fishing trip. Caught a bunch of smallmouths with a buddy of yours, old Scott. Thank you for that hookup.
Did he talk about me at all?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, he said he's known you a long time.
Yeah. He's a wonderful guy. How many fish did you catch that day? Because it's getting tougher. They're moving out. So
he said it was a little slow, but we caught 15 or 20.
Oh, that's a good day. Yeah.
We caught what to me was quite a few.
Yeah.
He was thinking they should be biting faster, and we were seeing a lot of fish that weren't cooperating. But that's sort of how fishing goes.
It is.
Mind. But yeah, we whacked them pretty good. I think our best 5 would have been close to 20 pounds.
And you've got to win.
Did real well.
Yeah, you've got to have 25, 30-pound bags on Lake St. Clair to win tournaments out there. Those are huge smallmouth. But I will tell you, I spent many a days on Lake St. Clair, and with Scott, it was not uncommon to go out there and catch 100 smallmouth in one day. It was just an experience. Yeah. What were you catching them on?
Yeah, I was real happy with it.
Good deal.
We were just throwing little swim baits.
Yeah.
on little jig heads.
Yeah.
Pretty much. We threw a few other things too, but that was kind of the primary.
Yeah, he's got a new sponsor that's got a really cool little swim bait jig head he's using. I don't know if that's what you were using or not, but he supplied that. Well, I'm glad that worked out. You've been yeah,
it was good. Thank you for that.
Wonderful. You had any time to make any knives since you got back, or just kind of getting set back into things?
Well, a little. So, I started prepping to do a major day tomorrow. So, I got 4 Damascus billets stacked up and ready to go, plus a canister, and then a little bit of shape work. So I'm trying what to me is something new. I'm going to try to ladder a billet longitudinally and then curve it like River of Fire.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see what those pattern comes out like putting those two things together. It'll probably be kind of a jumbled mess, and I won't ever do it again. Either that or it'll be totally epic, and I won't tell you how I did it.
Right.
One of the two. One of the two.
Just flip the coin.
What do you got, Otisir? Yeah.
That's that's one of the things with the knife making thing, right? Especially if you're doing your own handmade Damascus, you're doing it at home, right, in your own little shop.
Mm-hmm.
You never know what's going to come out. You can plan as best as you can, but unless you have some, what is the word I'm looking for?
Alabama Damascus?
Escape my mind. But
I made this.
It's always something, right? It's always something new and different that is going to come up. So,
and it always breaks in some
I
way
hope
you
it
don't
goes
expect.
well for you, but I don't think it's going to be a bad looking blade. If I try to picture in my mind what you just said, right? Instead of having the patterns going downwards like this, you're gonna have it across like that.
Right.
So it's
And
gonna
then
look
I'm going to
sexy,
try to
look real
snake
good.
it.
Yep.
Also,
Nice.
we'll see what happens. I'm trying to kind of replicate a fairly calm ocean. So I'm looking for
cool.
waves, multi-directional waves. It's kind of where I'm trying to shoot for. So
And it's neat.
we'll see. This is a practice one.
It's neat. I can kind
for
of
another project. So
understand those things now because I've been watching videos this week of people making Damascus
There
and
you
how
go.
they were splitting them apart, and they would initial, then cut them, then put them back together, and how they would twist them, and then they'd do this. And I watched, it might have been Kyle Royer making some feather Damascus, and it's neat to be able to engineer and picture that in your mind and have it come out to what you're looking for with some predictability. So yeah, I'm certainly not there. I don't. A lot of people aren't there. So do we have a little Templar?
Yeah, and all this
We have a little Templar.
Templar Juniors.
Who's got little Templar?
That'd be me.
Hey, have them come on and.
Trying to figure
Oh,
out
that
what
was
my
one
mute
half of the
button's at.
twin.
There
The
it
twins.
is.
There he is. I see the blonde hair
that's
here.
one half of the twins.
Hey, little
Mr.
Templar.
Carter's with me for a
Hi,
second.
buddy.
Hello.
Do they ever? Do they spend any time in the shop with you?
Yeah, they come in the shop all the time. We
Yeah.
pretty much only have one rule, which is that you have to have on shoes. Past that, I mean, I let them do whatever.
Oh.
They'll get hurt sometimes. I got good insurance, though. So far, we've been lucky.
That's how you
but
learn.
yeah, they
Experience.
come out
yeah.
all the time.
That's cool.
I don't
they
let them
bounce
play
back.
with the forge much, but they're drilling holes and hammering stuff and
Yeah.
climbing on the power hammer and all kinds of craziness. It's
Right.
good.
Put them on the paracord, right? Get them on the stitching,
There you go. Yeah, they do help me sew sheets.
Yeah.
Yeah, see?
Their help takes me longer than when they're not helping, but they do that.
So now that's exciting, Matthew.
It'll get better in the end,
That's
right?
exciting, Matthew, because you're like, I need to set up a production line, and you're realizing it can be done.
Oh, I've been considering that, and I've got a +1 coming, so I'm hoping,
Child labor is
chances-
illegal.
Well, Rich,
Hey, if they're gonna want that video game,
Mm-hmm.
I'll put them. Like, hey, you want the video game? Come clean the shop, and do some stuff around here, and I'll help you get a video game.
yeah.
What
have you been working on?
I'm
What-
gonna use it as a.
What have
as
you
a
been
tool
working
for-
on except considering future expansion with your kids someday? What's been going on?
Oh shoot. Well, I got a small wheel set on order. I put out a post on the workshop.
Yeah.
The Rivers Experience workshop on Facebook, and did a poll on should I get metal small wheels or should I get rubberized.
So what'd you
small wheels,
decide?
and
Yeah.
I wanted to find out the opinions. I'm going to go with the rubber ones. These model, like you said, buy once, cry once. So spend a little extra one, get the rubber. Negate that chattering or peckering, as they would call it.
Yeah.
On the group.
Well, let
So
me
that's
interrupt
gonna
you.
be my shop upgrade.
Let me interrupt you because Jason, you're shaking your head. Yes. So, what is as far as the wearability? I would assume rubber wears out quicker, but how quick does something like that wear out?
So I've been running a small wheel of a couple of different kinds for 8 years.
Yeah.
And the only one I ever wore out is one I screwed up myself.
Gotcha.
I have worn out some 2-inch wheels that were on my the ends of my platen
Yeah.
that were poly. But again, 6 years, man, that's pretty
That
good.
that is actually wonderful. I was thinking would they last
They
29?
functionally don't wear out. They
Yeah.
functionally don't wear out.
Well, that's really cool.
They do eventually, but
Well,
Yes.
even everything does.
especially the
yeah.
small wheel, you're not going to be running it fast. You're not going to be leaning on it hard.
Mm-hmm.
That'll last longer than you will.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I'm with you on the
Yeah,
rubber
maybe.
choice.
I mean,
That's good.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to
the
it.
ones that I use, the ones that I have are steel, and that's the ones that I use to profile the finger choil for my guard, so I can have that nice rounded seat, for my indicator, and I lean on it pretty hard. So I don't know if the rubber one would do as well as my steel one does.
Not for leaning on it hard. You're right, Otis. Here.
Yeah, because I do lean because I'm shaping the finger choil on the guard, and I really push it in. Cause
Hey, Otis here.
So I
I
rough
want
mine
to go
in.
quick.
I rough mine in on the platen and just clean it up with the rubber, so I don't have to lean on it very hard and end up with the same result.
Yeah. If you want to, I can help you with that, Otis. Here, I just need to come up there and I'll stand behind you and kind of put my hands on your hips. This is totally fine, and it'd be like
No,
it's
no, no.
all
Kinda like
in.
Patrick Swayze and Demi
No.
Moore.
I'm thinking more of Happy Gilmore. It's all in the hips.
Yeah,
It's all in the hips. Just
Nah,
relax.
nah,
It's
nah.
all in the hips. So I'm excited. What about your flat platen issue that you were having with that? Did you figure that one out?
Oh yeah, I figured it
Good.
out.
What'd you do?
I had the. There's a bunch of Allens. There's a bunch of hidden screws and stuff back there that I didn't even know like it had. The guy like he like over engineered this little platen thing. Like you had to slide it out. There's little 2 little bolts in there, and then there's like another little, retaining, nut in there. And so yeah, I opened it all up and cinched it down. It was about like a little corner twist loose, and that was all it took.
Isn't that wonderful?
So now I'm able to glide on it now. So yeah, thank God.
Yeah.
What a blessing was
It's
that,
like,
my
oh,
friend?
great, another problem. There goes my small wheels. Right.
And
I don't need any mishaps.
No, not at all, not at all. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing some stuff coming out of your shop since
Yeah.
you've got stuff coming and getting some of those quandaries you've had worked out. How's the mother doing? We're here a week into gestation. Is she doing well?
Yeah, she's doing good. She's doing good. Hopefully get past this morning sickness before
Yeah.
too long. The nausea and stuff like that. But yeah, once we get past that, it'll be a little better. And we drink less coffee because she don't like drinking coffee when you're pregnant, and so we're saving money on that end. But yeah, she's doing really good, really good. Just looking forward to getting past that. I'm looking forward to getting the gender reveal. And
Well, what are
exciting.
your first 2 children's names,
Exciting
if
times
we
coming.
may ask, and you don't mind saying?
man.
What are their names?
My oldest daughter is Emma,
Emma.
and my son is Noah.
Noah. So I'm trying to figure out how. Is there any possibility you can ask your wife of the Templars coming up with maybe a telethon or a vote to name baby number 3? And it has to be kind of a knife name. We're not going to name the kid a
Good idea.
Marabraid,
She
but
beat- Red Label.
Broadback.
Right,
Sounds
right,
good.
right.
ask her.
Yeah, she vetoes all my names as it is.
Yeah. Well, ask her and get back with us, because then you got the
Yeah.
power of 1,000 knife makers out there. We'll just have a poll. Otis here, what's going on in
Yeah, we'll
Laurel,
see.
man? Catch us up.
Yeah, this is for me. That's my last piece of that Alabama Damascus that I got on
Yeah.
Blade Show. Came out absolutely beautiful. I couldn't be happier with
Oh,
this.
yeah.
I mean, you guys can see it, but if you all want to see it, go to the Knives Templar podcast webpage on Facebook, and I'll have it posted there. Pictures and a little
Is
video.
that walrus bone in the
Put a
handle,
little,
or is that camel?
Now it's a giraffe bone.
I thought last week we were talking about
You bet
walrus
giraffe
and
bone.
camel. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah. Now you're the camel guy.
Oh, that's right. Jason was all hung up on like you remember, like, don't get your peanut butter in my chocolate, don't get your
Moose.
chocolate in my peanut butter, don't get your walrus
Yeah.
in my camel.
There you
I
go.
think that's what we were saying.
There you go. I mean, other than that, regular work days in the shop. Keeping Maryland road
So
safe.
do you find that
And
customers
that's
are more angry during this heat or during the winter when it's so cold?
It's about the same. When you're taking, not taking, but when you're making them take money out of their pockets to fix their cars, I mean, they ain't happy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that
That's good. That's you.
that don't matter.
Well, I tell you, I finished up that little knife I made called the Gentleman's Hunter, and the
Probably the best, beautiful knife you made so far, if I may
well,
say
it's
myself.
about the equipment, because I think I've had the vision in my head a long time, and of course you grow skill with every time you make a knife. But it was really a breakthrough moment for me, and I'm not bragging, because I always believe in being humble. I mean, I've seen your knives and I'm in awe of them, but
Brag it.
No. It was just like, wow, I'm getting this, and I think the equipment has a lot to do with it as well, because I'm not chasing a piece of steel across a 2x42 at the speed of sound, trying to keep it cool. So it
Yeah.
made a lot of
Well,
difference, and the different wheels and attachments.
The equipment absolutely helps. Don't get me wrong. Equipment absolutely helps. Okay,
Yeah.
but I think that the best tool that you have is between your ears.
Yeah.
Right. And whatever you can put it out through the tips of your fingers.
And
right?
all in
I've
the
seen
hips, all in the
some
hips.
people
Don't
do
forget that.
some beautiful work with just hand files and some angle
Yeah.
grinders, right? Absolutely beautiful work. Of course, that practice makes it better. It's never perfect, right? I am my worst critic. It for me is never perfect. Even on this last knife that I made, I know I can see it's beautiful, but I can see some
Yeah.
flaws in there that I wish it wasn't there. But with all that said, man, you have that last one is really,
Well,
really
thank you.
nice. That camel bone with those liners
yeah.
and the overall shape.
So clean.
It's great.
Well,
Congratulations
thank you.
on that
And
one.
but here's what I this is why I hold you and somewhat Jason too in high regard, because they say you lose a hair, you lose a hair with every great knife you make. Exactly.
going.
You guys,
I'm working on
look at you guys. Look at you guys. But hey, talking about equipment, let's take an opportunity to mention my favorite grinder and my buddies over at Ameribraid.
Hey listeners, let's take a moment today to thank one of our sponsors for today's show, and that sponsor is Ameribraid Grinders. Eric and Kevin over at Ameribraid have sold thousands of these grinders, and they are super nice guys, and their customer service is excellent. I would know. I've been personally using their 2x72 grinder now for 2 years, and it has changed my knife making to a whole new level. So if you're in the market for or looking to upgrade from that 1x30 or 2x42, then give Ameribraid a look. There you'll find they have 3 packages of grinders to offer. They have a mastery package, a foundations package, and a get grinding package, in which all of them come at different price points. So I'm sure you'll find something that'll suit your needs as a knife maker. Also, Ameribraid has a ton of innovative attachments for their grinders. So listeners, you can find out about all of this at www.ameribraid.com. Go give them a look, see what they have to offer today. And now, back to the show.
All right. Well, I tell you what, if you go out to Ameribraid.com and also catch them on Instagram and Facebook, they're posting videos every day, and they're one busy company putting out some really good equipment. So, hey, so in addition to my that knife I've made, I sold it and I put it in the mail today. And I know the person that it went to, so I'm just fine with it. If it had cost more, I'd have still sent it to them. But I charged them a nice rate for that. It's called my friends and family discount. And you've had to be my friend for 5 years before you jump on the friend bandwagon. Before you can claim friends and family discount. But he lives out in it's a little town called Nowhere, Alabama, down in South Alabama. And UPS pays for security and 3 extra donkeys to get out there, and it was like $36 to send this thing. I could have sent it to Hawaii for $36, so I kind of felt bad giving it to them. But hey, so I think here in the future, and hey, if the buyer of that knife is listening, you're my friend. No deal at all. No big deal at all. I love that you have it. But from now on, my knives are going to say they cost this plus shipping and handling to be determined. So you learn somewhere along the way. And I'm starting a new knife this week for a friend. And that'll be the last of my friends and family knives. The Fleshers and the Gentleman's Hunters and all those are going to go away, and I'm going to do some one-offs and start getting as experimental as I can and try and grow a little bit that way. But I'm not what's important.
Awesome.
I'm not what's important. What's important is, we continue to grow our new segment, and like I said, with Pop's Knives Supplies joining up with us, we've got another maker here on today as part of our Maker's Mark series, and we've already spoke to him a little bit. But Mr. Don Watson from down in Florida, how are you doing? What have you been working on, sir?
I'll do it.
Glad you're here.
All been working in the shop, man. Thank you.
You're always
Thank you.
working
Glad
in
to
the
be here,
shop.
guys. Really.
Welcome.
Can I ask you, are you retired?
It's always glad to be. Yes, I am.
Excellent. Good for
I've
you.
been
You're enjoying
retired
it.
about a year.
So, you've been making knives since like 2020 regularly. Is that correct? Because you
No,
told
it
me
was,
you had a book since
I
like
made my first
1987.
knife. Yes. Yeah, I made my first knife June of 2021. I started watching videos in around September, October of 2020 is when I found Eric and a lot of the guys on YouTube. So
Yeah.
I didn't pull the trigger on that until I did order a kit knife from Knife Kits back in, I think in December, and I put a handle on it just to see if I wanted to do it or not.
Yeah.
And I just said, I got to do this. So then I started searching for a grinder. And there's so many good grinders out there.
There's lots of good brands, yes.
A lot of good brands.
And
yes.
you use the Ameribraid too, right?
I think, yes, I went with Ameribraid. There's a couple of reasons why I went to Ameribraid. One, I like their setup and stand. You can move it around the shop. Number two, their customer service. When I called out there, Eric, y'all know Eric. He called me back within 10 or 15 minutes, man. Hey, Mr. Watson, and just great customer service with them guys out there.
So have you worked yourself up to pinto sauce yet?
No, I have not.
Oh, okay.
I've been waiting on that.
Well, it's a small club. Maybe we'll talk about it a little bit later. So you've got a Marabraid, you've got a Marabraid grinder, and are you using a forge or an oven, or what are you heating your steel with?
I started out. I ordered my grinder I got my grinder back in late May last year, 2021. And when I pulled the trigger and called Eric, I said, okay, and this is what I want. And then I ordered a 2-burner forge off the internet, and because I had to heat the steel up. And I had an 8-week wait on my grinder, so I said, let me go ahead and get my forge, and then okay, what steel I'm going to use, that kind of stuff. And then, but I started out with a 2-burner forge.
Like a Hell's Forge or some Devil's Forge or something like that, or?
Yeah, Devil's Forge. Yep.
Yeah. See a lot of those sold.
Forge,
yeah.
And it worked great.
Is that what you're using, Matt? Yeah. Okay.
Exactly what I'm using. I got 2 bricks on each end, and I can gate them off, and it works great.
So Don, are you up to an oven yet? Or are you still using a forge?
Yeah, I noticed if I'm going to do this and take all the guesswork out, I did use the forge for a while, and then I said, you know what, man, because you're guessing at it, being new at this, I was guessing at the colors, and you got to get that certain color, and you got to do it at night so it's dark, so you can get that right color. Having issues with trying to keep it soaked, and stuff, and I said, you know what, I need to just go ahead and pull the trigger, and I went ahead and got a 22.5 even heat oven, 240 volt, and I never looked back. I would not go without it now.
Do you have an itch to go back and use the forge every once in a while, just get on it?
No, I have not.
No.
So that's a good question.
I guess I'm the only one.
Yeah.
That's a good question, Jason. At your level of knife making, you've been in this 14 going on 15 years, you said a previous episode. Do you find that you use your forge totally for forging and beating steel, and everything else is put through an oven?
Yeah, so I've been heat treating with an oven for 12 years now, pretty much exclusively, just because of the control. Lets you do stainless, gives you a lot more precise outcome. But honestly, a little surprising maybe, in the last 4 years probably, I've switched over to heat treating by eye in the forge in just a couple of limited scenarios. So like when I'm trying to do hamon on W2, you're going to quench it as many times as it takes to get it right, to get the pattern where you want it. And it is so much easier for me anyway when I can look at it. And so I've been heat treating my hamons in the forge now for a couple of years.
Yeah. Oven's my next big purchase, but I'm certainly not there. So are you selling knives, Don?
Yes, I am. I've sold
Cool.
a few knives. I've given a lot away too. That's how it is. But
my first year,
word
I
of
gave
mouth,
every knife I made away. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I was going to say my first year I gave
away. Family.
Yeah, family. Great place to start. I did something crazy, and I don't mean to talk so much about me, but I'm relating. My first year, I gave every knife away that I made, and I have some very good friends in Norway. And not only would I make the knife, then I would ship them to Norway as gifts. So my wife was going crazy because I was spending the money on the knife and $100 to send everyone to Norway. So I spent several $100s, but I became an international knife maker at that point. I mean, hey. Can you say? I think this great
good.
maker Jason Fry said in a past, said like, if there's just what makes an Alamo knife, if it's got a little piece of the sand from the Alamo in it, is it an Alamo knife? Well, yes, it is. So if you're sending knives to Norway, by gosh, and giving them away, you're still an international maker. What can I say?
Yep.
Right. I think I wrote about that in one of my books though too. There was a guy in my previous hometown that would advertise in a Thrifty Nickel. I don't know if
I'm familiar with
Nickel is universal, but it's a little weekly newspaper where people can sell their stuff. And he had internationally known knife maker in there every single week, and I'd never heard of him.
I'm going to start using that.
So you're giving Chip an idea.
I'm going, yeah, because there's some people over.
Right, there you go.
Yeah, I've got all kinds of people from all over the world on Facebook, and I am internationally known. I'm a knife maker. It's working just. Give me a moment.
you go.
Give me a moment.
That's
You know, there's many ways to skin a raccoon, Jason.
That's what they say. That is what they say.
For you guys don't know, that was Jason's introduction into knife making, was the raccoon skinning
that
business.
was a good reference. So, yeah, I started out skinning raccoons. So
I hear you.
Good job bringing that back.
I hear you. So what's going on show wise coming up for you, Jason? You getting prepared for anything, or is there anything out there that's getting ready to happen in the next couple months?
No, not really. I'm working on a few major projects that I've been putting off for a long time, and like I said, I anticipate 6 months on a few of these. I'll turn out some regular stuff in between, but kind of Blade, Texas, in March, April is kind of my target right now for some of these majors.
Yeah. Now,
yeah, it's kind of.
do they do the
ahead.
do they do the JS and the Master and all that stuff at each one of the Blade shows, or is it just at Atlanta that they do that?
They typically do not. They typically just do Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
With COVID, there were some other times also, but I think Atlanta is the primary there.
I got you. Guys, go ahead, Otis here.
Squeak,
So,
squeak.
Mr. Don. Yeah, before we started recording, we were talking there a little bit, and you were saying about your background in woodworking and stuff, and how you were you were working with spindles and making stuff. Tell us something about that, and how does that is influencing your knife making now.
I started out woodworking, doing some cabinets and stuff like that, building furniture for the house. And then I went to a woodworking show, and then I was introduced to wood turning, the turning bowls and spindles, and then I learned to do artwork on the lathe. And then I got an opportunity. I joined a club. I didn't know. I turned for like 2 years. Didn't know a club was only a half hour down the road, and got introduced to a club. And then my eyes was opened up to the art form of wood turning, and got a chance to go around the state to different clubs. We have like 23 or 25 clubs in the state of Florida. So I got a chance to travel around Florida, demonstrate and teach, which I really enjoy teaching. I got do a lot of different things. I ain't got none of my stuff. You look back you'll see some of my stuff on the back on the mantle of my fireplace that I've done, hollow forms, stuff like that.
I was going through your Facebook page there. You make some pretty neat stuff. I've seen like some chairs and some I don't know what you call it, armoire or drawers and stuff. There's some pretty neat stuff.
To answer your question further, I think to bring anything if you're a maker, I don't care whether you're a knife maker or a wood turner or artist or whatever, it's all about artwork. But what I brought over from, I used to do fine art shows in my wood turning, and the jury fine art shows, and was very successful at that. And but bringing that over to here is production work. If you're going to do art shows, you got to put stuff out there people are going to buy, and I've always leaned towards stuff that you can use. And I did pepper grinders. You've probably seen my pepper grinder, stuff like that.
Oh, yes.
My pepper mill, stuff like that. My mentor that got me into going to doing art shows, he told me, he said, and I got into art shows, it was after the real estate pop back in 2008, 2009, and people were not buying the artwork, but they were buying ink pens, they were buying bottle stoppers, they were buying pepper mills, stuff like that, stuff you can use. They weren't buying the big vases, the big vases and stuff like that. So
had to have a real function.
You had to have a functionality, something people can use. And so my mentor told me, he says, you better learn to make pepper mills, pepper and salt grinders. And so I said, okay, and I could turn it, but I'd never done one. So I started doing that, and got into doing shows, and it's like anything else. You give something away, and next thing you know, the aunt sees it on the table. Hey, can you make me one? And that's how I grew my business in wood turning, and that. But bringing something over into knife making is, I watched your video, Jason. One of your knives. You had a video on one of your knives. I don't know if you make them or you have them made. The one that had the handle is like 7 inches long. I seen that and I went, And I was wondering if you had it water jet or whatever, or a production or something like that.
Yeah, I've got a production project going with White River.
Yep,
out
White
of Michigan.
River.
So they're making some knives for me. That was probably the one you saw.
That's one I seen. Really cool looking knife.
I have used water jet blanks sometimes. Oh, I've got all kinds of minions that help me with all kinds of projects, right?
Well,
no, I threw that out there because my kids are running around the back.
Oh, they're fine. Good-looking boys.
I mean,
But
production.
yeah, so those were production.
And that's and like in my knife, I brought it over in my knife. Like I do 3 or 4 knives, and I get them ground out. I mean, I do everything in mind of production. Everything batched out. I don't know if Jason and y'all do this, but say if you have 3 or 4 different knives you're going to make, you go in there and you cut them out, grind them out, profile them, cut the bevels in a preheat treat, then you heat treat, and then you step right in, put the handles on them, and then I have just do my handles that day. I mean, it's kind of a production type style. That's what I'm used to, and I think I do a better job when you do that. I think you can you can do it a little bit faster because you grind the bevel on one knife, and then 2 days later you're going to grind another bevel. You're like, but if you're doing 5 bevels at a time, you seem like you get in a groove of grinding.
Right.
So,
Do you have like little baskets where you like, I have this one with the 10 material and its pins, and then I have this one in its own basket with the 10 material and pins, and like line them up and then just assembly line them down after that point? Or
yeah, similar
how
to
do you go
that.
from
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, I kind of do a little bit of that. Yeah, kind of like, okay, this knife's going to have this handle on it. Boom. And then that way I can just grab it out and keep it all, together. What's going to go with that knife? Is it going to be chrome pins or, stainless pins or G10 pins or this handle? And,
Right.
when you say in the wood turning world, I have a lot of good friends. I was taught by a master wood turner that's been turning probably 50-something years. In the wood turning world, he's like the Bob Lovelace in knife making.
Okay.
I mean, he's got that.
Yeah.
He's
yeah.
got that type of, and he turns the big, beautiful natural edge bowls and stuff like that. And I can turn one just like him. Cut it just like him. Let him put his name on it. He'll get into the thousands. Let me put my name in. I may get
Okay.
300 for it.
Right.
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
the difference.
yeah,
but
yeah. I can see that. Yeah.
yeah, and,
Figure out the trick to that. Let me know.
yeah, the name is always about
Are
the name.
you,
It's the same way.
Is it
Are
MS?
you using some kind of a casting resin when you're working with the wood to stabilize it or something, or you use just natural wood and natural burrs without any sort of stabilization?
No, I would never. I found out when I was wood turner, and I, like I said, bringing this type of craft over, then I do all my stabilizing, my burls. I do all my. I get burls from Northern California. I got a guy there that I buy my burl from. I stabilize, I dry it, stabilize it, and cut it. I wouldn't put any type of wood. I found out you don't put no wood on your knife, especially down here in Florida, and you're going to send it to Arizona. Down here,
Yeah, they're gonna shrink or crack,
they
right?
don't shrink. Because down here, even in my house, is 13% moisture. And you do a knife here, would save. I did one of my knives. I did it out of rosewood. We have a lot of rosewood down here in Florida. It's part of the Indian rosewood family, and I got a lot of it. And so I went ahead and put a knife on there, and I put it and brought it in the house. It was perfect, man. I mean, the spine. You remember you talking about how your wood shrinks and you can feel a little edge or whatever.
Yeah.
I put it in the house,
Yeah.
stuck it on the thing here. In about 2 weeks, I picked it up and I felt the spine of the knife. Oh man. So I don't. If I'm gonna put wood on it, it's gonna be stabilized. I'll stabilize it. That's just the best. That's the best way, I think.
Yeah, especially like when you're in the production part, right? And you're not learning anymore, using the cheaper stuff, and you're going to use the more expensive stuff.
Yeah.
You know, definitely go stabilized. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been stabilizing for years.
As a matter of fact, I happen to have that knife in my hand right now. It's I had some
Ebony.
This I forgot the name of this wood. This brown wood, man. And it's really annoying. I'm thinking about grinding this handle out.
Yeah.
And putting a needle handle in there.
Yeah.
There's actually a visible ridge on top of it that you can see there, and that's really annoying. You know, it's one of them things that is you learn the hard way, I guess.
You know what's really annoying?
And yeah,
30 minutes into the episode, I realized I've been uploading through my cell phone. That's why I've been breaking up. So
okay, well,
I'm back at full speed, guys. I'm on the Carlisle 5G now. So
now, now, Don, have you thought about producing stabilized blocks and having put it up for sale for knife making? You know, for handles and stuff.
Yeah.
Because like the hidden things knife that I like to make, this is the specific measurement that I like for my blocks. Okay, 5 inches long by 2 inches wide, maybe 1.25 thick, right?
Okay.
And I found some online, but most of them are a wee bit smaller, so I cannot put like a really deep curve on my handle, like a pistol grip.
Yeah.
Been working on those, and you know, I've been trying different stuff. You know, right now I'm still waiting for my shipment from Mr. Oleg. Hopefully it's gonna be here soon.
Mine
I
ran
have
about
a couple
2.5.
of pieces that
Mine was about 2.5 weeks last time.
yeah. So hopefully I'll be seeing it next week.
And I just want to add to that you know, I kind of fought that off. I just wanted to use natural materials, natural wood. I haven't had anybody complain about the knives that I've made. They've all handled up well. But I did notice as a new knife maker that sometimes my knives, all of a sudden the spine seemed a little high. You know, it's like, where did that come from? And you know, I realized it at some point in time. But now I'm at the point where all I want to use is stabilized, and I've got a lot of wood left over that's not stabilized. And because I like to be creative and make, I don't see myself making all this decorative stabilization, but I think I'm going to buy myself the equipment to go ahead and stabilize it myself, and that way kind of buy and use what I want and figure out what woods work best to stabilize and so on from there.
Well,
Just going down that rabbit hole.
a word for the wise, okay?
Sure.
My teacher said, you are a knife maker.
Mm-hmm.
You're not a block maker.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna go down that, chasing that avenue to make blocks and stuff, specialize in it, make blocks, be professional as possible with it.
Yes.
If you wanna make knives, let somebody else make the blocks and you make the handles out of that block, right?
Right.
But in the case of Mr. Don here, he already have the skill set to go ahead and start producing those. So it would be another you know, block maker that we could rely on and have some good stuff to do. I don't mean to rain in your parade.
No, you're
Mr.
not, because
Shaggy.
I will tell you, I've got a background in vacuum technology.
Okay.
About 15 years.
Did you know that?
About 15 years worth of, 13 years, excuse me, when I was up in Michigan. And I owned a fishing lure company, which was all coatings and everything to stabilize, of all things, balsa wood and other woods. So while I didn't work in vacuum technology with my lures, I also know about that. So I think it's something that I'm not saying I'm going to make stabilize every piece of wood I make. I love what Oleg makes and what other people I've seen. It's just something else I want to learn. And I don't certainly wish to master it, but I hope to become good enough at it that nobody can question anything I make.
I have an important question for you.
Yeah.
Where haven't you been and what haven't you done? Because every time I've been here, done that, I've been over there, done this, and I've seen this, and I've seen the other. I mean, what the hell, man?
Seen that movie, Big Fish?
How old are you, man?
Well, I'm 57 and a half, but I will tell you what, we just kind of hit on some of the things that brought me to where I'm at. But I worked in the solar industry for many years, and we struck a plasma of the sun within vacuum chambers, and so as a safety engineer and making solar panels and solar technology, I learned a lot about vacuum technology and have built equipment and this, that, and the other. In China as well as United States. So if I just impressed you with something else, please, I'm just an old fat guy that looks like Santa Claus, you said. But I'm not trying. My wife says you need to shut up and listen sometimes, and that's probably what I need to do here. But it intrigues me because I do understand vacuum technology, and when you sit and watch the videos and bubble out and this, that, and the other, we love to put things in vacuum chambers and shrink them down. I was a much younger man. It was cool. Yeah, what you got, Don?
You remember last when not Jason, but when I think his name is James was on. Remember James?
James McClendon, yeah.
James, he does.
We're going to get him back on here one.
He does his own vacuum and stabilizing, and I want to answer that question. Remember, y'all talked about koa wood from Hawaii.
Yes,
Yeah.
I've got koa. I'm the one with all the koa.
You can stabilize it. I've done it.
Can you?
Yep.
Okay.
But I got 2
Cool.
pieces
Yeah,
out there. I've done it.
I've got I forget how many pounds I had, but I've got 3 football-sized blocks of koa, or cinder block, half a cinder block size blocks of koa, that my cousin, who was Hawaiian, sent that to me, and so I'm tickled to death.
Yeah, you can.
Right. Well, that's
you
the
can do
thing.
that. Go ahead.
Well, that's the thing is you acquire like these special like pieces of wood and stuff like that like here and there. So I mean, it would make sense to have a stabilizing pot and a little vacuum and a pump and some cactus juice, and that way when you get those rare things that hey, I'm going to stabilize it for myself.
Yeah.
I got a little batch I've been saving up, so that way I'm not wasting the juice or anything. But
Right.
and then you do your big batch, and then next year the stuff you acquire, and then you cast it in the pot and do it again. Yeah.
There's nothing we can't do, and there's nothing we can't do well. We won't master everything, but be the best at whatever you try. And everything I've ever
Right,
done,
right.
I have taken it to the nth degree to become the very best. The only thing I'm still questioning is my guitar, because when I tore my bicep from my arm, I asked my
That was when you
doctor.
were
I
fishing,
said,
right?
no, I was actually changing a tire on a car. They call it the old man's tear, because you're pulling on the lug wrench as well as you're pulling your body back. So you're stretching your arm and pulling your muscle in at the same time, and it goes snap. And I asked the doctor. I said, "Hey, am I going to be able to play the guitar after this?" He says, "As good as yes, you're going to be great." And I'm like, "Perfect. I've never played the guitar in my life. This is wonderful." So actually, Don and I, we both are great guitar collectors, and we do play. But yeah, when I ripped my bicep off my arm, it was the weirdest pop in my life, and I just laid down in the driveway because it was kind of cool and it felt better on my face. And my wife walked outside, and I'm laying there with a tire wrench, face down on the concrete with the truck up in the air, and she thought I was dead, and she almost I don't know if she was like, "Ooh, insurance money," or "Oh my God, I've lost my wonderful husband." So we just never went there and didn't ask.
It could be both.
It could be. He was wonderful, and thank goodness he left this to me. So what do you got there, Don? You're holding a fancy hat.
Yeah, this is one of the hats I turn on the lathe.
That's wood. Cool.
Yeah, it's wood. It's my Clint Eastwood stovetop Stetson. that I
Yeah.
turned. You seen Pale Rider, the movie Pale Rider?
Yes. It looks just like it.
Yeah, this thing here took me 6 hours to make on the lathe, steady cut.
Oh, wow.
And I just figured I'd
Have
do
you
it.
stabilized it? Have
No,
you stabilized
no,
it?
No, it was wet. It was. I mean, I just cut the tree and then I went and got it, and you have to do it wet, and it's only
Yeah.
about. It's about less than. It's a little bit bigger than a 16th thick. It has to be real thin.
Wow. So you think there's a market for wooden hats to go with wooden Dutch clogs?
Well, because I learned from one of the. I kind of learned. Got to be good friends with him. He's the master of hat turner and wood turning. His name is
Oh, wow.
Johannes Michelson.
Mhm.
and he started turning hats 45 years ago, and he introduced it to the wood turning world. And he can turn this
Yeah.
hat in a demonstration. He can turn this size hat, hour and a half, have it done, and then you have to put it in, and you got to put it in the benders to help bend it, stuff like that.
Mhm.
But he can turn one of these hats, and this block of wood starts out about 16 inches in diameter,
Yeah.
about 9.5 inches tall, a bowl blank.
You're going to have to take a picture of that and post it to the Knives Templars page, or to the Rivers Experience, so that people can see that there, because that's a beautiful piece they won't be able to see on the podcast. But that's something else.
Yeah,
That is something else.
And we're talking about stabilizing. You say you might get into it, but coming from the wood turning world, there's woods that if you don't stabilize, you can't turn punky wood. You can't use punky
Right.
wood. But if you stabilize it, then you can turn it and it'll last forever. So that's the good thing about stabilizing.
Well, what kind of resin are you using to stabilize? Are you using the just this cactus juice that I hear about a lot, or is there like a special resin that makes it even harder and tougher than just the cactus juice?
Well, when I started doing the stabilization, the guy that invented cactus juice, I got to know him. His name is Curtis Seaback out of Texas, and he kind of helped me along back then. And I started using the cactus juice, and he kind of helped me along when he first started getting his name out there and this juice out there. So it's cactus juice, and it's probably some of the best out there.
Don, do you have a website or a Instagram page or Facebook page for your knives?
Yes, Don Watson Knives.
.com or on where
No,
you
it's
at?
just the Instagram. I ain't got a
Okay,
website
Don
yet.
Watson Knives
yeah,
on
I don't
Instagram.
have it.
All one word?
Yeah, Don Watson Knives, yes. I believe it's no, I think it's Don Watson. Yeah, I believe it's all one word.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I found you here. Don Watson Knives.
All
Yeah.
right.
Oh, right on the front page here, you got stabilizing pot and everything.
Cool. Well, let's take a moment while Otis here is checking out the stabilization equipment he's got there to hear from our friends at Pops, who supports this podcast, and we appreciate everything they do. Be right back.
Pop's Knife Supply was started 40 years ago and is owned by 4 professional knife makers. Andy Roy of Fiddleback Forge, Alan Searles of W.A. Searles Knives, Joey Berry of J.B. Knife Works, and Dirk Lutz of Dirk Lutz Knives make a great team of owners carrying on the traditions and business started by James Poplin. Over 4 decades in business is a testament to the best customer service with same-day shipping on weekdays. Pops only charges actual shipping, and any shipping differences are refunded on your orders. Everything you need to make knives, from grinding, steel, pin stock, heat treating, and more, can be found at Pops. Visit them at popsknife.supplies. And now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back, and I do think everybody here ought to go out and check popsknife.supplies and see what they've got going on. I've become a big fan of their 8670 steel. I tell you what, it's some beautiful stuff. As a matter of fact, Andy Roy put out a video here today or so you can find on the Pop site just showing just how easy and nice that steel is to work with from a hardening process. So go out and check out Pop's Knives on Instagram. You can find them on Facebook, and you can certainly go to their website at popsknife.supplies. Got great deals. And as always, their shipping cost, they'll refund the difference. So Otis here, what'd you find on that Instagram page for Don there?
I'm going through here, seen some pretty knives, some beautiful, what looks to be hybrid handles, wood, and some colored resin.
Yeah.
You know, beautiful stuff, man. Beautiful things.
So he's a
some
Knives Templar then?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, you got my vote right there.
All right, you're in.
So, I do have a question for you, Don. Do you have like a preferred style of knife? I like to making this question to everybody. Do you have a preferred style of knife that you like to make, or you like to make whatever comes to mind at that moment that you start working?
Well, I think that I'm coming from a hunting background, fishing, because I live here in Florida, and we do a lot of saltwater fishing. And or used to, a lot of freshwater fishing. I think I lean more towards the traditional hunting knife, drop point hunting knives. I'd done my first fillet knife. I cut out a couple of fillet knives, and I didn't even put a handle on them yet. That was the toughest, probably the toughest grind I've done is a fillet knife, But just a little bit of everything, learning, and the main thing is learning the shape of the knife, the balance of the knife, the ergonomics of the handle. Just see something that looks good. You'll see my chair in the background over here. I sit there with graph paper, and while I'm watching TV or something like that, I just draw out something, and then I put it to a burn. And pattern making is probably the key thing when you're a new knife maker, is to draw it out and then put it on quarter inch plywood. I use pressboard or something like that, MDF, and then you can put it in your hand and then feel it. I was working on, when I was talking to Chip today, before I talked to him earlier this afternoon, I was making a new style of knife. But yeah, to answer your question, probably your hunting style, chopping style, stuff like that. Just learning, man.
The way I come up with my designs, I go to jasonfry.knives.com, and I look at the photos, and the ones that he posts a good horizontal flat picture of it, I just print them out and trace them on paper and go, look at my new design. It's the Gentleman's Hunter.
Right against the screen. The essence of creativity is the ability to copy well. That's what they say.
And I also go to Blade Show and take pictures of his knives, because he doesn't say, you can photograph it, but you can't copy it.
You can't make it.
Go ahead.
Are
Hey,
you
I
not
got
gonna
a
be able
little
to make it?
direction to go here. Don, I was
Yeah.
looking at your Instagram. There you go. Don showing us a knife.
Yeah, I'm
Nice
going
large
through
hunter.
your pictures here, man, and all of them, the handles, they look very comfortable.
And good clean grinds, too.
One of the make or break items or section of a knife for me is always the handle.
Yes.
I had this, I still have it, this Falcata. I bought it from CRKT, and the handle right on the top of the handle, it had a hump there, like the hump on a camel. I don't know why they put it in there, but it was really uncomfortable, and I was trying to chop through some things, and that hump was digging on the palm of my hand. So what I did, I took it to the grinder and I ground that hump out and made it nice and rounded, a nice even line from the front of the handle all the way to the back, and problem solved. I mean, a handle is, for me, is the make or break,
Right.
of a knife.
You can make it look good all you want, but if it don't feel good,
Yes,
nobody's touching
yes.
it.
Oh yeah. You can have a beautiful blade, whatever metal you have, Damascus, stainless, it doesn't matter. But if your handle is not comfortable, that knife is dead, right?
Exactly.
I was during Blade Show, I was walking around there with Eric, and we came to a couple of booths there. Most knives that I picked up, handles were comfortable enough, right? Good handles, perfect handles. Every now and then I would see something that when I picked up, it's kind of, okay, well, this is not gonna be a pleasant piece to be working with for extended time. And some of them were downright dangerous because it would seriously hurt your fingers, or force your hand into an uncomfortable position, right? So, always be mindful of that. And that's what I tried to do. I mean, even on this last one here, right? When I pick it up, it just sits in to the palm of my hand. It don't want to roll. You don't want to go nowhere. So it's, one of the also one of the hardest part to get good at is coming up with handles.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd say so.
Yeah, I struggled a lot. I still do. I would draw a knife, and the blade is good to go. I like the design of the blade and everything. I put my plunge lines where I want to put it, my ricasso and everything, but I struggle with the handles, right? It's one of the hardest part for me. So
Yeah.
I'm,
like me-
hypnoti- I'm I'm hypnotized here looking at Don Watson's knives. I don't like you anymore, Don. You make nice knives. I don't want to compete with us.
All the knives that I've made,
Uh-huh.
I don't know what it is. Jason's been making knives for 14 or 15 years. It's something about when you make that knife in Pinto, and any of y'all, is when you make that thing and you put it in your hand, you go, and you know it's there. I mean, it's like, I told my wife, I said, I found it.
Yeah, that's right.
All the knives and designs I made, I went, I think I found this thing, man. And this was probably the best knife I ever made.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's a
It
great
looks pretty
feeling.
too.
I
Now,
had
is it
that
like-
feeling when I was. Go ahead.
When you go from there, do you like, okay, I'm gonna lock this down. Let's go get get a dozen water jetted out and do a run or something like that.
I
Right?
cut 4 more. I cut 4 more
Right.
like just waiting to put handles on it. I mean, it just feels so good,
Yeah.
man. I mean, I made this one. This is Pop's 8670, but I made one out of 440C stainless. Because I got a guy that on Facebook that he hit me up. He goes, "Hey, dude, I'm not a knife person, but because he's seen this knife on my Facebook page, and he goes, I'm not a knife person, but because I know him when he was a little kid, and he said, Big Don, I'm not a knife person, but I'll buy one of your knives, so I just know I got one of your knives." And I said, "Well,
Yeah.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah, no, they look real good.
thank you." He
I see-
fishes in saltwater, and because he's got a nice boat, and he goes out in the bay. And I said, "Well, buddy, if you want one of my knives, I gotta make you a stainless knife because it will not, carbon ain't gonna last long in saltwater."
No. How do you like the Marigrade? I'm looking at your Instagram page again, and that's another reason I hate you. How do you like that surface grinder you got there? I'm jealous. It's jealous hate. That's all. How do you like that surface grinder?
After I won the lottery last year of 12 million, I mean, no, I'm just teasing. I tell you what, that surface grinder, man, is top notch, man. I'll tell you. I mean, what they done and what draw me to that surface grinder, because it's got on and off magnets that holds the blades on, and that just makes so much. You don't scratch your blades when you put it on there. You can go in there and do up to a 600 grit finish, flip it over, wipe it off, stick it on, and it will not scratch your blades. My blades ain't all scratched up instead of trying to pull it off, but it's really nice. It's a nice feature.
Have you made any tapered tangs with it yet?
Not yet, but I just watched Eric's YouTube channel.
Right. Yeah, I
and
saw
I
that.
watched that, and I'm gonna be giving that a shot. I think I'm gonna start doing some taper tangs for that. Especially
Yeah,
your big
I'm
knives.
saving up. I'm
So
selling.
I just got
you
an
know,
Ameribraid surface grinder attachment like less than 6 months ago myself, and I haven't really put it through all the paces yet. I must have an older one. It doesn't have the mag chuck. It just has straight magnets. But
Really?
so you say the
Ameribraid?
Ameribraid guys have a video on how to do tapered tanks on their machine?
he put it out here recently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it came out this week.
I'm gonna have to look that
Yeah,
up.
go to
Okay.
Maribraid YouTube. He's got it. He does a really good job. That's Eric, but he does a great job. How to figure out your angles. If you want 40 thousandths at the tang, or you want 20. I think the average is about 40 thousand at the butt end of the knife. So I guess what do you call that, Jason?
I've
The butt
tapered
end.
tangs on my platen and then trued them on a disc
Yeah.
for a long time, but I haven't had the surface grinder attachment very long.
Well, I talk about by the pommel.
Yeah, the pommel. We're down, towards the end of the knife. What do they call that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The pommel.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm selling knives to say. I sell knives to buy more knife making equipment these days, and that's my next
Yeah,
purchase. But
that's-
have you seen the hollow grind jig that they just put out, or they've been pushing? I was watching the video they put out today, and they had 6-year-olds out there making hollow grind axes and knives, with it, and that's probably their kids. But I was just like, well, I still probably couldn't do it. These kids are talented, but. It comes back to what we were talking about offline today, and it's like, well, some people have more respect for people that freehand making knives, and I'm sure that applies to hollow grinding or anything else. And I can make a knife these days, freehand. But I tell you what, and I'm sure it's not the same for everybody, but it comes out so much more beautiful when I'm using jigs or engineered equipment. And I'm an engineering technical type, but it just gives me the ability to make things that are just more uniform and more sharp, crisp lines and stuff. and that may just be my skill set right now, but I'm a lover of these tools they're putting out. Otis, here, what were you going to say?
Well, the freehand grinding thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Recently, the last 5 knives that I put out, all freehand.
Yeah.
So it was a big step for me when I said, okay, I'm a freehand from here on, especially on the full flat.
Mm-hmm.
When you go full flat, it's easier to freehand than you try to say a Scandi grind or a saber grind, or whatever. When you want to have that line in the middle of the blade, I call it a saber grind. I heard it called a saber grind. So
I'm sorry, that noise was Eric taking his clothes off in front of us. Dude, we're glad you got a colonic, but the drugs have got to wear off before you come back on. Anyway, go ahead, Otis here.
Yeah, if you're doing like a saber grind or a Scandi grind, I would recommend some sort of a jig. It will help you out to have those perfect crisp lines all the way from plunge line to the tip. But if you're going a full flat like the way I'm going now, freehand is faster. I found freehand to be way faster. It's it's really nice. It made me feel really good when I started freehanding. And this last one, that you guys can see, and I posted the picture there, completely freehand, right? And not a single problem with it. It took me a while for me to get here, but yeah, I can say finally I'm freehanding, and it's awesome.
Yeah, it's like going from automatic to manual or something, right? Like that
Oh yeah,
kind of transition.
yeah,
I look forward to getting there
Yeah.
someday.
Yeah,
I've actually
yeah. I mean, my advice is start somewhere with some cheap steel in a piece that is not gonna matter if you mess it up. I tried freehanding before, and I had some grinder bites, and when you put it into your platen and you're pushing it in, one hand will want to put more pressure than the other. Usually my left hand will put more pressure than the right, and and you're gonna have a couple of grinder bites, and you're gonna struggle, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
The knife
When
the knife you gave me at Blade Show, was that freehanded ground? Freehand?
No, that wasn't.
Oh,
No,
okay.
that
I
was-
showed that to
was
somebody
steel.
from Chicago today that just probably wanted to steal it if they could have got it on the plane.
Mm.
But I will tell you what,
Hey.
the
Tell them to hit me up. I'll make one for them
well-
and charge them a pretty penny.
well, you're not going to get my cell, buddy. But but nice try. Well, and he says, what's wrong with this steel? I said, well, I used some of Shegman Caneva blade wax on it, and something that's pitted and causing the tip to melt away. But it's still a beautiful knife, right?
Oh my!
Remember I told you I was
What
going to
you
use
do to
my
my
blade?
knife, man?
No, it's gorgeous. I haven't. I remember I told you last time I was going to use my homemade blade wax on your blade because I didn't want to use it on mine to see
Yeah.
how it worked. It's worked
So
beautifully.
you're melting my steel. Huh?
No, it's worked beautifully. It's wonderful.
Awesome.
So,
So tell us about that wax, man. How do you make it? Share the secrets.
just looked online. Wanted to, again. I used to work for I was a beekeeper, and I
There we
used
go.
to. No, I'm joking.
There we go. There we go.
But I have this beard, and I went through my stage. I'm going to make beard oils, and so I have a lot of beeswax laying around. And I looked up, how do you make axe wax? And I'm not taking anything away from the company, and I'm sure there's something in there that's better than anything I've made. But I saw several recipes and some people that seemed to know what they were talking about, and some similarities between recipes. So I used, 2 parts beeswax to 1 part linseed oil, and a little tiny bit of turpentine. And then I made one without the turpentine. And I ended up using the one without the turpentine on yours. And, I pulled out the knife and looked at it today, and it didn't discolor it or anything. And as far as I know, it's protected. It's something you'll check on over time. But I also used it on my table for my Maribade grinder, excuse me. And there I'll see some discoloration over the week just because of the humidity, that I might just see just a little bit of color starting to form. And it stayed beautiful all week. So then I stuck it on my swag table and everything else in my shop that was metal, and it seems to be pretty cool. So it's 2 parts beeswax. Make it at your own risk. And 1 part not boiled linseed oil. So
Okay.
Yeah.
look it up online. There's lots of recipes out there, but it worked really nice. And that's that. So let's
Hey,
take an
Don, what's
opportunity.
going on?
Just before we do that, Don, if you couldn't make your own scales, would you go to Sikowski and take a look at what they have?
Yes, I would.
Well, let's
Sure
take an
would.
opportunity to see what Sikowski has to offer.
They do a good job.
Be right back.
As knife makers, we all know the importance of quality handle material. Something that's both tough yet beautiful will increase the value of your knives and allow you to build something that your customers will love. When it comes to the handle material for my knives, I choose Swikowski scales. Run by Sarah Halpane and her mentor Alex Swikowski, they have a combined 20 years experience making handles and knives. They offer stabilized burls, exotic hardwoods, vintage micartas, and some of the best segmented scales in the business. Find them on Instagram at Swikowski Scales or on their website, swikowskiscales.com. That's SWIECZKOWSKI scales.com.
All right, you guys go out there and check and see what Sarah's doing over at Sikowski Scales. That's some real nice artwork.
Mr. Don was going to say something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the new knife maker, woodworker, whatever. But I learned from. I think I posted on our page. You can buy the Minwax paste wax and go in there if you're, because of course you know on your rest, if you're grinding after heat treat, it'll get rusty if you don't put something on that rest, and it gets hard. But my grandfather always used a paste wax on his, because he was a master carpenter and he used his table saw. He
Right.
always he would take steel wool or emery cloth, he called it, and go over it, and that thing looked like brand new. And he used that paste wax all the time on there, and that's the way I got it. And I figured that's the reason I shared it with y'all. But if you take some Minwax paste wax, you get it at Lowe's, and put a couple of coats on there, it'll keep that thing from rusting. It'll slide. If you use a jig like I do, it'll slide slick, man. So it works good.
How better, huh?
Yep, a lot better.
Yeah, that's a good tip. For sure.
What are the
Yeah, man.
what is the conditioning belts? What's that material made out of?
Scotch-Brite.
Scotch-Brite.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you. I
Scotch-Brite,
couldn't remember. So I use.
I use
Go ahead.
I use those Scotch Brites to do my convexing on my edges.
Yeah.
That's another thing. I was talking to Jason the other day, and he couldn't get to the answer to my question. Is that, and the reason I asked is because of lately I've been observing, and I had a couple of nights where I had a full flat and then a secondary bevel for the cutting edge, and then I had some that the way I learned in my classes, that you do a convexing. I think Joey Darius called it apple seeding for the edge. So basically, you bring it to a look it up, convexing. You'll be able to see pictures there, and you almost a zero grind. It's actually a zero grind. When I'm hand sanding my knives with the convex in there, it's already sharp enough to cut the sandpaper. So it is sharp, and you have to be careful when you convex your edge, and it's because it's gonna go down to zero, right? But what I noticed that when I convex my edge, that knife with a convex edge will bite much deeper into wood or meat or whatever it is that you're cutting through than a knife with the secondary bevel. And that remember I sent you a picture with my tomahawk and a victim of it. That was that I had just convexed that edge on that tomahawk, and really deep bite, and the knife deep bite on the when you convex it, much deeper than a secondary bevel. that is my experience, right? Jason, do you have something to add to
Yeah,
that, or Don?
I was
Do
going
you
to
mind
ask,
commenting?
to kind of follow that up, how thick are you leaving your edge on a typical hunter before you put the convex or the secondary bevel?
Uh, if I want, well, the knife that I make it a purpose-driven knife, right? If I want a skinner, maybe a half a mil before I convex. I don't know how would that be in thousandths of an
I
inch.
don't
I forgive me, but I wouldn't know. The last chopper Falcata looking style that you saw last time we were on, that I had about a millimeter in there
So
before I
a half a
convexed
mil
it.
is about 19 thousandths. So yeah,
Okay.
that's kind of where I like to land too.
And but that I do that when I need something like a slicer instead of a chopper, right? If I want a
go even
chopper, I'll
thinner.
have a mill, right? If I want a chopper, I have a mill because I want to have that backing right behind the cutting edge. You know, like taking a razor blade and whacking in a piece of wood, you're not gonna cut it very much before you damage the edge. But if the knife is driven to be just like this one that I showed you earlier, you know, this is pretty much to zero with the convex in there, and you know, its only purpose is to slice through stuff, right? Vegetable, meat, and things, right? Same thing with the skinner.
Yeah, I
You
think
know,
in my mind that dimension, that thickness is nearly more important than how you finish out the grind, whether it's convex or secondary. If your knife is too thick, it's just not going to cut right. It may chop down trees okay, but that's something I see in a lot of beginners. Is that they'll hand you a knife and it's a hunting knife, and the edge is 40 or 50 thousandths, so a mil and a half,
Yeah.
And they wonder, well, I can't get it sharp. Well, it's because you're sharpening like a 3/16 wide secondary bevel, But if you get it down good and thin before you sharpen it, it's gonna work a lot better. Now you're right though, you lose a little bit of sometimes durability, right? You wouldn't want to chop down a tree with a razor blade.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was saying, right? I don't think there is a knife that is do it all,
Right.
right?
Yep.
So when I draw a knife, I'm thinking, okay, what am I gonna do with this knife? It's gonna be a skinner, so I can bring it as thin as possible before heat treat, and then I still grind it a little bit more after heat treat, and then I'll convex it. So we're talking almost paper thin already at the edge before convexing and sharpening. You know, and then okay, I want a chopper, right? Something that I can take it and whack Bigfoot's toe out off, and I will want something with a thicker blade right behind the cutting edge. So I will leave about a mil, no more than that. I mean, if you leave any more than a mil, I mean, basically what you got is an axe. Don?
Yeah, that's what, as a new knife maker, that's what I struggle with, man, starting out, because you think it needs to be thick. And what I don't understand was when I started watching these YouTube videos, these guys are using 1/4 inch steel and 3/16 1/4 inch steel, and they come in there and do a bevel about 3/4 of an inch up, maybe 1 inch. And my question is, okay, what is
Chisel.
your edge before you sharpen it? How thick is it?
Yeah, basically a chisel. I done that before.
Yeah.
Trust me, I done that before. It's
I mean, I've done the same thing, but I know using Pops 8670. One of my mentors is Andy Roy from Pops, and I I know I wore him out just asking him questions, and he told me it's all about edge geometry. So take it thin, and I found out at Pops 8670, I've taken a knife down. I'm talking about. Let me show you this knife right here. I've taken this one down. I don't know if you've seen that. I've taken it down to about 15 thousandths and chopped a mess out of it. I cut a 2 before and then never messed the edge or anything up. I don't know if y'all can see that or not.
Nice,
But
nice.
Yeah, that's what
He
That's
told
what
me
the new guys don't get is that the heat treat and the steel themselves will do that work for you, right?
Yeah,
You
it-
don't have to always leave it fat to do that kind of work.
I cut my
I have
teeth
to add
on
here
that.
though. I have to add here though that as far as knife skills go, and we're kind of talking about different blades and all, I really wouldn't be caught dead with a garlic press. I prefer to use a razor blade. When I was in prison with Henry Hill and Paulie, we used a razor blade, and Paulie did it. He sliced that garlic so thin it would just liquefy in the pan with a little bit of oil. It was a great system. I brought it in loaves of bread. It's good.
Oh, was
Okay.
that after he keistered it, or?
So here, I realize people won't be able to see it. I'll post this picture again later, but Jason, take a look at this, okay? So this is 1.5 inches wide at the widest part.
Right.
It's a saber grind, high saber grind with the convex in there, okay?
Yep.
And this one, I made it with a, what you call it, almost a fighting knife kind of deal. Very sharp, a micro bevel in there, okay? And I like using it thick,
Right.
1/4 inch steel, right? But I think if you're using 1/4 inch steel, if you grind high enough
Gotta go high.
towards the spine of the blade, it may not even be a full flat, right? But if you grind high enough, you're still going to have a nice cutting edge. If you think of a samurai katana, right? Those things are thick, and some of them are not even full flat. I mean, they come a high saber grind on that thing, all the way to almost the edge, and then they still convex it a little bit. I think some of them are zero grind, right? But I've seen some where you have the apple seed effect on the edge right there if you look real close. So, and those are legendary cutters, right? And that's one of the things that inspire me on my my cutting bevels. If you look at this, I mean, I'll post some pictures later on the website. But if you look at this, I mean, it's pretty much what you see, right? It's So I recommend trying to bring your edge, depending on the use that you want for the knife, anywhere between 1 mil or 1/2 mil, and then convex it. The easiest way that I found to convexing is with those conditioning belts, especially the very coarse one. It will hog material out really quick and evenly, right? And then you hand sand to your finish that you desire, and do your finishing touches and everything. Just be careful not to slice your finger open, because once you do it, it's going to be already cutting.
Every time
That's where
you
I'm at.
turn around and walk off screen and get another knife, all I can think of is nobody brings their kids to your house.
No,
knives everywhere.
My kid is already turning 18
Talking
in a
about
week.
younger
You want,
kids.
you want me to get my kids to model a
And,
knife for you?
I'm sure you guys have taught them
They'll
well.
do it.
No. I gave him a knife for his birthday a couple years back, and it was really sharp. And one day I come home and my wife is kind of pissed at me a little bit and said, "What happened?" "Oh, your son, he cut his leg." "Okay, how did he cut his leg?" "Oh, he was slicing something and went through whatever he was slicing, through his pants and on his I think his right thigh, so he still have a nice scar in there. So he learned the hard way not to play with knives without
Did you
supervision.
respond to her like Mama said? That's a mighty fine sharpening.
Yeah, man.
That's a good
You will
sharpening.
heal.
That's a sharp
It
knife.
will cut. It will cut.
Right? Yeah,
Hey
we
guys,
won't
I
do
got
it.
I've been collecting some questions that came in last time, and there's one in here about just how we started the podcast, but I don't really want to start there, and I'm gonna leave these up to you guys, the experts, and they've just come in randomly on my DMs, and pretty basic questions. Some I'm a little bit deeper than that. So first thing is what do you prefer the steels that you use and why?
Oh shoot, I'm still
Anybody.
trying to figure that out.
Um,
I started out with 1095, now I'm on 8670 from 1084. I'm just trying to lock in what I really like and really play with it. So that's where I'm
that's
at.
kind of what I've done is locked in. I stuck with 1084 for a long time. Didn't mess with 1095. Didn't mess with 5160. I wanted to get as good at 1084 as I could. When I got an oven, I switched over to stainless, and I picked 154 cm, whether I did the particle or the regular. I wanted to make sure I had it right. That's a good standard steel. Lately, I've been playing with more stuff. As I've been forging, been using 5160 some and doing W2. But,
I haven't even touched
I kind of
this
have
yet.
always tried to just zone in on one or two and get good, rather than try every single new steel that comes out.
So there's no perfect. There, different steels have different traits, and we learn that as
Everything's a
we try
trade-off.
something new.
Everything's a trade-off.
Yeah.
But then again, it's kind of like you were saying, you become very good at working with that one particular steel. And I'm kind of like you, Matt. I used the 1095 for a long, long time, did some 1084, and I jumped on the bandwagon and bought this 8670, and I have nothing but good results so far. So yeah, it's just kind of like, I think it's just, if I had to offer somebody some advice, I would say my first steel came off of Amazon. Mr. Volcano.
Same here.
Go out and get you some Mr. Volcano and 1095, and just start making knives, and then just kind of grow from there. What do you say, Otis? Here, what do you got a particular steel you like?
Let Don go first.
Sure, go ahead,
The
Don.
guest should go first. What's up, Don? What kind of steel do you like to use, or you're a scrapper? Everything that comes through your door, you're gonna use.
No, I'm pretty much a stock removal. A year ago, June, when I made my first knife, I called Pop's Knife Supply, and I got a hold of Andy Roy, and I said, I'm a new knife maker, and I need to find out what's a good steel to use. I watched all the videos on 1084, 1095. You got to normalize 3 times, or at least twice, and I said, man, there's got to be something else out there. And when I was talking to Andy Roy, he goes, my go-to steel is Pop's 8670. I went, what is that? He goes, it's a very good steel, Don, and it's easy to heat treat. I said, I'll take a stick of it. So I kind of cut my teeth on 8670, and then when I got my oven, I started doing some stainless. I went to 440C stainless and had pretty good results with 440C stainless. 8670, I've been testing tempers, and your heat treat's pretty much, austenizing is pretty much the same, but you can, 8670, you can go 325 up to 400, and I mean, you can get good results out of that, man, and it'll hold up at 61 Rockwell. I mean, it'll hold up good. If it's at, lower, 57, 58, will it hold up the other steel? Probably not. But I found that 8670 is my go-to steel. It's easy to work. If you heat treat out of a forge, it's real easy. The heat
Cleans
treat,
up easy, I've
it
found.
cleans up. It doesn't, when you're doing it in the forge, it doesn't decarb as bad.
That's what I wanted to know.
Don't decarb bad at all. I mean, it does have a little decarb. Now, you put it in the oven, you might want to use some nuclear. 2000. And I tell you that 2000, man, that stuff comes out. You seen my pictures. It comes out slick, dude. I mean, comes out real slick.
And you can get that at Pop's as well, right?
Pop's Knife Supply, yep.
You can indeed.
And,
Yep.
but I think steel is like pie. You go to a family reunion, you got 29 pies sitting out there, they're all pie. Oh no, I like pecan, man. No, I like peach. I like pumpkin. And I think it's all what you're used to and what you're confident in. And I'm pretty confident in 8670. It don't mean I'm gonna stay there.
Well,
I'm
the-
just,
Feeling it,
what
yeah.
are you gonna do? But
The good.
I will tell you what I don't like first, right?
Well, before
And I
you do
use,
that, because I want to make sure we get this in here, because it doesn't matter what steel you use, you've got to have a great belt to go at it. And I tell you what, who makes some great abrasives is the guys over at Phoenix. So let's take a moment and listen to that.
All knife makers need abrasives, plain and simple. Here at Knives Templars, we're proud to partner with Phoenix Abrasives. I used to get my belts from another company, but they spent more time on marketing than they did customer service, sometimes taking 2+ weeks to ship my order. That's not the case with Phoenix Abrasives. They're obsessed with committing all of their resources to customer satisfaction. Whether you're using a 2x72, 2x42, 1x30, or something else, they've got you covered. They even carry Rhino wet sandpaper. So go to phoenixabrasives.com/shop and enter promo code Templars10 for 10% off your next order.
Otis here, I cut you off for the sake of sponsorship, and you were going to tell us what you don't like.
Hey, well, that's okay. We gotta get.
Gotta
our
pay the bills,
sponsors in
brother.
there and,
Gotta pay the bills.
Gotta pay the bills. Gotta keep the show going. Well, what I didn't like, first steel that I didn't like using, and that might have been me just walking in the dark, right? Was 1095. I used 1095, couldn't get the heat treat right at all. My edges would roll, and I used it one time I went fishing, the one that I could get okay, right? I went out fishing, and the minute that knife touched that wet fish, it turned black, turned dark and crusty. I said, oh my God, what is this? Right? So I chucked that knife in the river. Never to be seen again. Okay, I say, forget this thing. I will never use it again. Right? Gone. Okay. And then I loved working with 5160. 5160 worked great for me. I had really good results with 5160. The next steel that I wasn't too impressed, it's a good steel, holds a good edge, nice hard steel, even after the tempering cycles, was the 52100. And the reason I didn't like 52100 is because it could have been me again, right? I made, I think, 3 blades out of 52100, and they all warped like there is no tomorrow, right? As soon as it went into pinto sauce, it turned into a hook, right? So I said, damn it, man, maybe next time. And I did it again, and it happened again. And the third blade, and it happened again. So you know what, forget it, right? Now, the steels that I've been using that I liked really, really a lot is 80 CRV2, really like it. The problem with 80 CRV2 is the amount of decarb that is coming out of that thing. It's tremendous. Now that I start using that nuclear thing, not nuclear, right?
Nuclear, yeah.
Nuclear 2000.
2000.
Right? So it's better, and very little to none decarbon in there. The next thing that I enjoy using, no issues whatsoever, was the W2, right? I like using it. That last big blade that I made was W2. I tried going for a hamon, but I couldn't get it, so I'd forget it. Let me just put a regular hard steel all the way through the blade. Now I do want to get into this 8670 that you guys are talking about, pops, right?
Do you have any yet?
Sims, nah, not yet.
Sure,
I'm gonna go and I'm gonna go talk to them and get me some of that, especially because of the evenness of the darkening when you etch it.
Didn't that turn out nice? I mean,
Oh,
when
yeah,
I did
yeah,
that,
it's-
I just couldn't believe it.
Mhm.
And let me give you the trick here.
And
When
then you're doing that what you call it, the tumbling with
stone
the
wash,
rocks.
yeah.
Yeah, the stone washing, yeah.
But let me tell you this: that knife was etched for 30 minutes because the first time I did it, I didn't like the gray was still a little light. The stone wash looked beautiful. I just wanted a darker knife, so I experimented. I was either going to melt the knife or I was going to like it. So I put it in there for 5-minute cycles, another 3 5-minute cycles, and neutralized it and cleaned it afterwards. Once I cleaned it off, I threw it right into the stone washer with some WD-40 and turned that for 25 minutes, and that was the result.
What kind of pebbles are you using for your stone washing?
Only use
Aquarium?
I only
Aquarium?
use gray fish tank pebbles.
Gray fish tank.
No,
pebble,
excuse me,
okay.
green. Green is the color.
Okay, green is the color. Okay,
Where you
good.
buy
Maybe
them
it's
at?
gray.
Good,
Maybe
yeah.
I just don't want you to know that gray is the best.
Where you buy them at?
No, that was I bought those at the Pet Depot. Just aquarium gravel.
Mine is just the round, the round.
No. This is the stuff that's $1.50 a bag or whatever. It's the cheapest aquarium gravel you can get. Comes in different colors. You can even get the colors of the rainbow, Matt. I know you got kids that probably like all those colors, but I happen to get green because that's what they had out.
Get a clear tube and a black light. I mean, have at it, buddy.
Yeah, I hear you. But I tell you what, who taught me that was my buddy Eric Rivers, because he's got a great video on stonewashing, and he's the first guy I saw throw aquarium gravel and WD-40 in a tube and start shaking it from there. He does a shimmy shake. I built a Turner. Yeah, Otis here.
So, going to the stonewashing, if you do stainless, Don, when you're doing stainless, what you want to try, I did it once. I'm not going to go into details. I do not have an oven, but I do stainless when I want to. Okay. So I was able to get a very interesting finish on a knife. I had it on, I was doing the handshaking thing like Eric does, and I had a knife there, and I was watching TV and shaking that can for like half an hour. No etching or anything, and it does create a nice, kind of like a not a patina, but it's kind of hard to explain. But it creates some indentations and scratches on the surface of that steel, and diffuses the light. It sort of looks like a fish scale, right? It's really, really pretty, especially on stainless that is supposedly never going to change. It's a really nice effect to put it in there.
440C 440C. I've done 440C, and I have to wash it and everything. It turns out, like you said, it takes that glare off of it. It's really nice, man. Does a good job. Plus, I also leave the mill scale. If I don't surface grind it, I'll leave the mill scale and grind the bevels, and it's got like that perforation, like orange peel on the top of the bevel.
Okay.
It's pretty cool.
So when you're doing it like this, do you use any sort of a wrapping around your steel, or you just put it in the oven with the nuclear or whatever?
When I do 8670, I put a good coat of nuclear 2000, and put it in there and do my soak times. And then when I do the 440C, I put 2 coats. I put that first coat of nuclear on there, and then I dry it off with you can do a hair dryer or a heat gun and get it dried. Then I go back over and put another coat on it, put it in there, and I hardly have any scale build up on my 440C.
Yeah,
I'm using I'm going to jump back in. I was talking about that knife but I just want to make sure that I mentioned that length of time. I'm also running like a 50% ferric to water solution as well. So that may be different if you're running higher ferric content on what it would do to your knife. I
think I have 2-to-1. 2-to-1 distilled water to ferric chloride.
Okay.
Yeah,
I would definitely recommend doing distilled water.
I am using distilled water and like I said, I'm just running like a 50% mixture. And guess what, Otis here? Back in 1994, I was etching 5 mil stainless steel with ferric chloride to create paper thin solar cells, because we would take 5 mil stainless steel substrate, deposit solar, crystalline solar on it, and then we would go back and back etch the panels to reduce them and make them almost like tinfoil solar cells, so we could shoot them into space.
And then you would vacuum seal it.
No, they were already through the vacuum at that point. We worked with Fokker Space, Japanese Space Agency, and NASA on something we called a solar cell, SAIL. We had cells on the cell because they used not only the sun's energy to create electricity, they used the sun's energy to propel things through space using a SAIL made out of solar cells.
Sail.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Sail. Yeah, I've seen those, yeah.
Just wanted to add that to my resume with you, baby.
Now, Mr. Jason here, he asked me about my teacher in Brazil. I mentioned it before on the show. I'll just give him a shout out real quick. His name is Eduardo Berardo. Just look him up. He makes some of the most beautiful Damascus steels.
Now,
that
we
I've
can't
seen.
understand
Okay,
him. We can't understand him, but if you send me the link to his Facebook page, I'll put it in the show notes. Or not his Facebook,
yeah,
his YouTube
yeah.
channel. because I've watched them. They're beautiful.
Yeah. I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that. Great knife maker. That's one of the things that attracted me to take his classes. And by the way, I bought the class, and I did everything online. Okay, it's not like I went to a shop and I was beating the hammer and stuff. I mean, he's there in São Paulo, and I'm sitting here in my living room, and I'm watching and I'm taking notes, and I go to my little shop and I put that into practice. So, but it is much more than YouTube, right? Eric does a good job. I've seen some of Jason's videos on Facebook and stuff, but it's very minute, right? And the way he goes about it, he goes step to step, and every okay, he goes, okay, let's make this particular knife, and he goes from start to finish on that knife, or let's make this particular handle and starts to finish on that handle. And every subject, you have several classes. For the English only speaking people, it's going to be difficult to take those classes because of the language right there. But if you speak Spanish or Portuguese, I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
It's all right. You'll be giving those classes in no time.
Yes, you will.
My English is not good enough for that, and I'm not skilled enough. I'm still struggling on my handles with symmetry from left to right. Still a little crooked here and there, but
You notice he doesn't
for
put
the
it.
untrained eye.
You notice
for
he
the
doesn't.
untrained eye, they won't see it.
He doesn't put his face on his YouTube videos, so he's got a face for podcasts. So he's gonna.
There you go.
Yeah. Just saying. Just saying.
Got a shiny dome.
Well, you mentioned. Well, I mentioned YouTube. You mentioned Eric. So let's take an opportunity to talk a little bit about the Rivers experience. Hey guys, what was your source of inspiration when you first decided to make knives? Many go to the books and also some go to the web, but many also head to YouTube for videos. Well, we are fortunate enough to have Eric Rivers from the Rivers Experience as a co-host on the Knives Templars. But you know what? He's also a sponsor, and I tell you, 27,000 followers can't be wrong in following his skilled and educational regular videos that teach the fine arts of making beautiful knives. I know because I'm a subscriber to his channel, and I learned at my pace and without making those mistakes by walking in the dark regarding knife making. Be sure and check out his channel, The Rivers Experience, on YouTube, or his website at theriversexperience.com. And now back to our show. Well, I've got a few more questions here, and we'll see if we can get through them all today. This one's going to be easy for me, but I want to hear your responses to it. This is from John Bentler, and he says, what are your favorite aspects of a bushcraft knife? Who wants to take that one on?
I'll let Jason go.
I was shaking my head. No, I don't know that I have studied bushcraft all that much. I mean, now I'll skin a coon, and I'm not afraid to go out camping and all those things. But the whole bushcraft trend of the last however many years, I'm fairly ignorant to that. So I honestly have no straight answer to that question.
Yeah, same here.
As to what a bushcraft
I would like to
knife
say
might be.
my answer is nothing, absolutely nothing. That number in the top 10, the number one thing, I'll just go straight to number one, is will that thing baton wood? Let's just stop. We don't even have to go there.
No, I mean, bushcrafters, man, they are very interesting, and I kind of like them.
Oh, yeah.
Because all the things that they do, out there is very, very useful. Actually, if you're if you're a hiker, if you're a hunter, and you're stuck into some bad predicament, you're going to need some of that skill to number one, stay alive, and number two, being able to get out of there. So a good quality of a bushcrafter would be maybe a 3-inch knife, 3-inch blade, maybe something that is not heavy. I mean, it's something that you're gonna use to make little things and cut notches and. But other than that, I mean, it's I don't know, man. It's I never went out and did a lot of these things personally myself, so I don't. I have nothing to contribute on it.
I can, as far as being a guy that spent a lot of time out in the wilderness, and I think there's bushcraft and there's survivalist. And I think bushcraft are guys that go out and, with no disrespect, they want to show their ability to build a structure that they can camp out in, and this, that, and the other. What do they really need in a knife? Because many of them like to say, well, what can I do with just this knife? I think, number one, they need to carry a hatchet or a small axe or this, that, and the other. Nothing big, just a small, good small axe. As far as a blade goes, I think you want something that's at least 3/8. I think quarter's too heavy, but 3/8 of an inch is a good thickness. You've got a good sturdy edge on it. I wouldn't be worried about it being able to slice tissue paper as much as the ability of it to, number one, cook, but also be able to slice meats and this, that, and the other, or if you're hunting or trapping or something along those lines, be able to process that. But ultimately be able to stand up to some of the rigors that you're going to put it through, whether you are batoning wood or just cutting down branches and stuff and trying to clear those so that you can build those structures that they like to do. So I can't really criticize it. I just don't like the word batoning. It just seems like destruction. But I think that you want a good, sturdy knife. As a backpacker, I think I mentioned on an episode here recently that, give me something that's, if you can give me a pair of fingernail clippers with a built-in knife and I'll be fine. But if I'm going to carry a knife, something that's just under a 3-inch blade that's light and easy to carry would be just perfect. But that's not for bushcraft.
Yeah, you know my answer.
Yeah. How about you, Don?
Well, I never made a bushcraft knife style, but I know I watched a video the other day, and this guy was interviewing 2 elk hunters that backpack out and kill elk, and the thing. And I'm watching this because as a new knife maker, I'm trying to see because knives have come a long way, man, since I was a kid. And he goes, for y'all people down the lower 48, like Florida and all that, we get out of our truck and we walk maybe a half a mile to the stand. And if when we do harvest a deer, we can drag him back. He said we hike 15, 20 miles out. And he said this, and they asked him about the knife he used, and he goes, just remember one thing, for us, ounces or pounds. If you have a big knife, he said ounces or pounds, and the knife he used was like, really? And he said, I'll do a whole elk with this one knife. And, but bushcrafting,
I found a lot of gear.
Go ahead.
I found a lot of gear laying on the trail that people have just thrown away because it was, knives and sleeping bags and tents and stuff just thrown down because people were just tired of carrying the weight.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to each his own, but I wouldn't venture out into the deep woods without at least I would say a good 6 to 8 inch blade, maybe more. I mean, I like a big old hunk of steel with me. If I have to chop down a tree, I can chop down a tree. If I have to fight a bear, hopefully not. I'll be able to stick a bear with that thing, right? If I'm carrying a nail clipper like Chip suggested, I mean, I might as well just lay down and, okay, do what you want.
You know what the record is for stabs on a bear that attacked a man? Nothing. They never got him stabbed before it ate him.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know.
Yeah, it's impossible to stab a bear when he's charging you and eating you. Did you see The Reverend?
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Ooh.
That guy is a hero, man. That's what I'm talking about. Big old knife. Brought that
But even a
grizzly
small
down.
Appalachian black bear that's huffing and puffing at you, I've been in a situation one time with a bear that was kind of huffy puffy, but he wasn't coming at us. But that's a situation where when those things charge, they will be up a tree. If you're up in a tree stand, they can climb up a tree in a matter of seconds.
I've seen it, yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to get that knife out and going. You just need to go ahead and turn over and go, "Would you like some salt and pepper with me, please?"
I'm a burrito.
Yeah, only if you're in a sleeping bag.
Right.
Hey, I will add in here. There's a knife that when I was doing a lot of backpacking, people liked it. They ordered it. They got them at like Knife Center or something, maybe up here in the Appalachian Mountains around when you're going across the Great Smoky Mountains Parkway. But it's called a wood lure, and I think it's kind of a expensive, kind of famous little bushcraft knife that the English version of Bear Grylls was excited about. And so I've seen those, and those are probably 3/16 or 1/8 inch. 1/8 inch blades, and not very heavy, but they're supposedly quite functional. So I would say go out and check out the wood lure. Some of these questions I've seen on other podcasts before, but I'll go ahead and throw this one out here. I just want people to hear the same things over and over. But why would you spend only a couple hundred dollars, on a handmade knife when you can buy a production blade much cheaper?
Well, my answer to that is you buying a unique piece. There is no two alike. Like the knife that I make, they're all one-off. If you have one, that's the only one. It's like a fingerprint. There is no two alike. And they are usually much prettier than just a production knife. Okay, to each his own. Some people will buy whatever. I used to. I don't do that anymore. If I had the option to buy a knife today, I would probably go for a high-end Smith that has a good pedigree, so I can have it right there. That's me.
What about you,
They
Jason?
say, why drive a Cadillac when a Pinto or a bicycle would get you there?
Hey man,
It's
you're
the
talking
same.
about me right there. What the hell?
Oh yeah, sorry, my bad. There is some fun just in having a nicer one. Another thing I like to point out, a knife made for one of the big box marts by guys on the other side of an ocean. They're concerned with them being cheap, and they're concerned with them being lawyer proof, right? They can't break. They gotta, I'm not as scared of lawyers as those guys. My knife, I think, is going to hold an edge longer because I'll push the hardness up, I'll push the edge geometry down. If somebody's going to buy a knife at a custom level, they're going to take better care of it than a $30 big box knife. And so I can push the performance in ways that those big box knives can't.
Or even a $200
our
brand that they're selling
Yeah,
out of.
because our customers know better than that. They may not call you and say, "How come the tip broke off when I tried to use this to undo a bunch of Phillips screws on a trolling motor?" Or something. They know better. That's one good reason we make them better for the guys that like a better experience.
You get levels of customization and personalization that people prefer that too, or a shelf item, and it supports,
again, a unique piece
made in USA.
I see a lot of people have pride when they're walking around with a custom, blade that someone's made in their shop, whether it was their garage or, someone who's working out of a shop full time. They just a lot of pride in that. But the next part, there's another part to that question I didn't quite understand. Why would somebody spend a couple $100? Only a couple $100? I don't sell knives for $200.
Yeah.
Quit selling your knives cheap, guys. Sell them for what they're worth.
Yeah.
There's $200 knives. Don't get me wrong, but
and you're just one
don't sell
person in the
yourself
garage. You got a family. You got a life, and you're putting your hard work into it, and you're giving them that customization. They're allowed to kind of little tailor, what they want out of it. So.
Yeah. Well, everybody I make a knife for, I walk them through every step. I send them pictures along the way, or if they buy it after it's made, they see all of this stuff. So I tend to enjoy these as projects where I'm informing the customers along the way with photos. I let them help me with naming it. I come up with exotic names, whether it's Sasquatch or Cherokee names that kind of ties into what their interests are. And there's a lot more ownership in that. And they can walk away with every knife I make a YouTube video for it these days. So, they've got a video that they can send to friends and say, "Hey, look at this knife I just had." So it's more of a tailored experience. It's like,
Right.
it's
Yes.
Providing an experience.
it's concierge knife making. So
I had one that I made for there's a customer. He's a part seller for the shop, and he's Native American from the Blackfeet tribe, and I think is on the North Dakotas. He got his people there, and I put on his knife a little crescent moon with a wolf howling, right? And I etched that, and it was. There's not going to be another one like that, right? That
right.
piece is his, right? I made him sort of a Bowie style knife with that little wolf on one side and my signature on the other side. It's again completely customized. I mean, he was aware of what I was doing, the design. I show him a drawing and say, "Give me a few days, let me start working on it."
yeah.
And it's his. It's
You know,
his knife.
every one
It's
of
his
us can
knife,
make our
right?
own knives, and we do. The one I'm carrying in my pocket right now is one I made, but the one you gave me, Otis, here, nobody will ever make anything like that. And the story that goes with it and how I got it and everything, those are just that is what people talk about heirloom knives. Those are knives that come with some sort of legacy or some sort of heirloom story with it. That how did you acquire that and what's the specific behind it?
Yeah, that's what I was
But,
thinking about the guy getting hung up at 200. I mean, there's so much more fun to be had after that.
Yeah.
And besides,
let
I
him
need
go to Blade Show and take a look. I mean, I've seen some of the cheapest knives I saw at Blade Show were around the 500s.
You didn't walk
Right.
by the butterfly table then, did you?
No, I didn't go there.
Or like, some
Don?
of the crazy historical stuff like Fisk does, or like I try to do. I can make a knife with stuff from San Jacinto or the Alamo or whatever.
Right.
You can't. It's not $200 either, and you can't buy it at Walmart either. So, I
Right.
mean,
And you're
Did you-
creating a
did you see
theme.
the
and an
price
I pity the
experience.
guy that gets stuck at 200. There's so much more.
Did
fun
you
to
see
be
the
had.
price for that Kyle Royer knife? Did you see the price that he was selling that piece that he had on his table?
I heard about it, but I can't quote the number. It seems like
Yeah,
it
I will
was,
tell you right now the number. I remember very well. $10,000.
yeah.
I wouldn't touch
that's-
it.
Is that
Meaning I
the,
wouldn't
I
pick it up.
touched it.
I mean, I
have-
didn't
have
want to
some
pick it up.
pictures. Oh, I have some pictures with it right here, like
is
this.
that the one he put
He's on
250
his
hours
game.
in it?
Something
He had
like
worked
that.
on it for months. Yeah, his mother was there when we walked up to the table, and she was telling about the time.
Yeah, Don, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, I was talking about, selling your stuff and stuff like that. That's probably the hardest thing for me. Is even when I would turn and doing these fine art shows, it's kind of hard. You got a nice vessel that you make, and you've got hours in it. And you want $400 for it, and you go, man, $300. Because it's, I don't know, man. It's a tough call. But my mentor, when he showed me about the art shows, and my mentor, he was in the 60s, retired, and he made around $75,000 a year. Did 23 art shows. He made $75,000 a year, and he told me, he said, and I'd look at it, so what do you think I should sell this for? And he would tell me, he said, if you sell it less than that, you're cheating your craft, man. You're cheating your time.
Yeah, have you? I don't know if y'all remember that thing that went around on Facebook and some of the socials. There was this song that's like, it costs this much because it takes me freaking hours.
Yeah.
Substitute a new word, and it's like there's a lot of truth in that. Now I don't know. I was watching somebody making washcloths with, and I was like, I wouldn't pay a lot for those. But us knife guys, you're exactly
And
right.
something you just touched on is the time spent, right?
Yeah.
My knives, man. Usually, you all know how I work.
You have
I
a
go
part-time
to
job
the shop.
making knives, yeah.
Yeah, well, basically, I don't call it even a part-time job. I call it therapy, right? I go
Yeah.
there to
Well, it's that too, yeah.
distress what
Decompress.
whatever happened during the day, But I will work on a knife through the whole week. So I will usually start a new project on a Sunday, and I will be done on a Thursday. Right? I work Sunday all day on a piece. I will profile. I will grind or heat treat on Sunday, and then I will do my hand sanding, all my hand sanding on a Monday, and then I start working on the guard on a Tuesday. I will fit the guard and the handle on Wednesday, and I do the finishing touches on Friday. So you're not just buying a knife; you're buying my time,
Your heart and soul.
right?
Your heart and soul.
My the time that I put it in there. So I mean, how much is that worth? Maybe way more than just the knife itself. I mean, you're buying somebody's time, somebody's life.
I didn't get this
Right.
question, but this kind of leads to it. You mentioned, hey, I've got this. This is therapy. It's great for me, and it is. Hobbies are supposed to be that. How do your spouses? What do they think about you spending that time out doing that outside of the house and or in the garage or in your shop or whatever? My wife is actually quite supportive. She does a lot of volunteering with our church and the community and this, that, and the other. And this is my particular thing, so it just kind of fits our lifestyle. But what do you guys have to say,
I
Don?
buy my wife's happiness with $100 bills. She's not super keen on me being in the knife shop all the time, but as long as I keep showing up with some cash once in a while, she tolerates it pretty good.
Well,
You got a system,
Yeah,
Don.
Don, being in the profession I retired from, I was gone all week, and
What did you do?
I was truck driver.
Okay,
Truck,
cool.
Yeah, and 36
Thank
years.
you. Thank you.
And-
All right, thank you.
And working the job and being gone all week, and I think when I took this job 36 years ago, 30 years ago, that it put me on the road Monday through Saturday afternoon. And my two daughters I have, they were 3 and 6, and I didn't get to watch them grow up, because they're gone all week. And my wife, she cut the grass. Anything need to be fixed, she had it fixed, and stuff like that. But now being home, it's been a blessing to her. I mean, I come out of the shop, come in here, and we have another cup of coffee and sit and talk, get in the pool, whatever. My wife's always been supportive in anything, because wood turning is not all I've done. I've been blessed to do a lot of different things, and she's always supported me in everything I've done. That's probably the reason why I've always excelled in it. Everything
Yeah,
I've done, I've pretty much excelled in because of her, so, and her support.
Let me ask you this: is the pool above or below ground?
It's below ground.
That's perfect. I'm just looking for a venue for our first Knives Templar annual meeting, and you got a big you got a big freezer and a nice grill.
Yeah, I got a pretty good grill. Well, no, I gave that away. I had a custom-made barbecue smoker that I gave to my friend a few years ago, but my pool's big enough. I got 16 by 30.
All right. Well, I can hook my smoker up to the back of my truck.
Sure.
Okay. We're going to put you on the list. We'll break it down, but
We'll figure it out.
so basically, you've got these years now that you've retired, and did you do long haul or city or?
I ran mostly southeast Florida,
Okay.
Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina. I'm real familiar with Alabama, Coleman.
Oh yeah, you were.
Atlanta.
Did you go north of Coleman?
Not much. I've been to Huntsville.
Well, you were 10 well, I live in a little town called Hartselle, Alabama. I'm between Coleman and Huntsville.
Okay.
You ever find your way through here again, you have to stop. I think Matt, your situation, you spend a lot of time in the house and taking care of family and this, that, and the other, and your wife does some traveling as well, so that gives you a little bit of a respite to get out and get that mental health as well, because your job is extremely difficult.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, you got
The house husband, huh?
Oh yeah, well, you get a toddler, a 2-year-old, and a 4-year-old. Man, they run me ragged. They take them to the playground, and it's me pushing them on swings. They're not spending anything, So my arms are getting their workout.
Are you going to? Well, I've seen you in a shirt. Are you going to? Use formula, or will you actually be breastfeeding the baby?
No, my wife will be doing both.
Oh,
My wife will be doing one, and yeah.
I'm just saying.
You
I'm
know,
just saying.
you're encouraged to give skin on skin, but like
I was just saying you had a. We both need a man's ear.
yeah, yeah. I need to get out and push these kids on the stroller a lot more.
Oh, I'm giving you a hard
Yeah.
time. You're a cool dude. But
It's okay.
so when she gets home, she's spending that she's unwinding. She's spending that time with the kids because the motherly thing, and
Yeah.
both parents are equally important. But it gives you an opportunity to kind of break away and catch your breath for the day too, I guess.
Oh yeah, it's definitely like because her thing is she goes to work, she misses the kids, so she gets home, I'm like, okay, I'm done, like so we definitely do the swap, and
And the
I'm
pecking
definitely
order.
gonna be
The kids come
yeah,
before
yeah,
you. Yeah.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
one more on the way, and so we're looking into doing some homeschooling programs and stuff like that, and starting in the ball rolling
good.
on that, so that's going to
Good,
be
good, good.
keeping me busy.
Yeah.
So yeah, so for me, like on a smaller scale, I'm not like I don't have books. I'm not in full swing production. I am just the garage hobby dad. Just having a good time here with you guys, and chatting and listening and learning. Definitely learning,
Yep.
and being that voice for the guy that's only been doing it for about 2 years, and maybe only about a year of it actually doing it. So so yeah. So other than that, my wife, she's very supportive of this. She's behind me 100%. She's going to be helping me out with cards and shirts and stuff.
Yeah, she's very creative there. I've seen some of your stuff.
She helped me come up with my lettering logo. So that's one of my logos on that, and she's been printing them out for me for my etching, and yeah, very supportive. My other hobbies, not so much. If I bring up Pepicura again, actually I need to stop. She'll kill me because we spent a bunch of money, and I lasted for like a month. And some things you get into, and you find that you're not into it, and it's also kind of like a piggyback earlier when some of the stuff we're talking about, like Don with his woodworking background and stuff like that, and how so many other things piggyback and they marinate in the same juices as making knives. You're dabbling in woodwork, you're doing leather, you're doing all of these things, and so you're not really like limited to, you're branching out, you're still feeling and stuff like that, and they do lead down other rabbit holes, but
Yeah,
Chef
my wife, I should have added in. She also works in quality of control with Shegman Kaniva, and I walked in this week and showed her a side draw sheath I had made, and she said restitch it. So I show her my stuff when I'm done, and she gives me final approval whether it should go out or not. And I knew I needed to bring it in, but I was like, and I restitched it and brought it back in. She goes, that's what you need to be doing. So,
and it's nice having family involved like that.
Yeah, it is. It's
I
nice to
let
get that
my wife-
feedback.
I let my wife
Yeah.
pick handle materials sometimes. I mean, just
Right.
because I'm not the only customer. I'm not even a customer at all. Right? I mean,
And she
that's
has a
what I
unique
like,
perspective beyond what
but
you
I
see
want,
too.
I want other people's perspectives. I use her for
Yeah.
that a lot. She actually. I mean, it's fun to make fun of her stealing all my knife money, but she really does support the business pretty well.
I gave my wife $720 of my knife money this past week, and she said it, and she says that my money that I spend on knives is not my money; it's our money. So I have to pay her back from our money that I spend on knife stuff.
Sounds familiar.
So last question here, and this is one I didn't want to ask in the first, but Jackson Hartman, he says, how did you guys get together and start this podcast? A lot of good podcasts are out there, and just wanted to know how you guys got good chemistry and how it all started. So I guess I'm going to have to take that one here. I love knife making, and I started listening to Knife Talk, and I think it's okay to mention other knife podcast out there. I think that the gentlemen that run that are well beyond 200 episodes, and they are just a blast to listen to. They have a different approach that we do, and they all make knives full time. But they're extremely talented gentlemen, and every Monday morning I enjoy listening to their podcast. Additionally, I was listening to Art of Craftsmanship. I was listening to Knife Talk Down Under from Australia, and I've always been kind of a techno nerd and doing things with graphics, and I enjoy this kind of stuff. So I had asked Eric Rivers if he wanted to do a podcast like back in November, and never really heard anything back from him. And he was nice. He was kind of like, yeah, okay, we can talk, but it didn't really go anywhere. And then around January, I decided I was going to do this, and I joined. I was on the Rivers Experience website, and when I was on there, I decided to form a little group, and I asked Otis here, who I had befriended, Joey.
Stalked.
Huh? Stalked? Yes, I stalked you because you made
Stalked.
beautiful knives. I knew I would get one of those knives one day for free. And I asked Joey Terrio, and I asked Chris Jones and Eric if you wanted to come into this group, and just a little side chat group. We call it the Knives Templars. I made a graphic, and then I thought, after listening to the Knife Talk one day, I was like, you know what, we can do that. And it's been a little rough road on the recording and me learning how to do certain things, but it gets better and better with every episode. But when we came together, we found out that we all just laughed. And I've always had a fun and enjoyable time being the butt of the joke sometimes. Matt and I seem to have that in common. He puts on a happy face. He's like, Chip, you never see the tears of a clown. But we just
Let's
seem
take a
to
cold
just
shower. Cry.
yeah, we seem to just get along real good. And after we had started doing the podcast, Matt Rich, he started stalking us and sending us pictures and talking. So we invited him on the show as a guest. He was probably, before we had the Maker's Mark, he was our first one. And he did such a wonderful job, and he was funny, and we could make fun of him too instead of just me. And it just kind of went from there. So it's just more of an evolution, and hopefully it continues and continues on. We went to Blade Show together, three of us, and we got along wonderfully. They laughed at me because I have no sense of direction in the big city, and so it's just been a lot of laughs, and that's what's important. A lot of laughs and a lot of common interest and a lot of respect for each other. So now we've branched out. We've had Mr. McClendon, his first name, excuse me, it's a J name.
James.
James McClendon, excuse me. I apologize, James. I know if you're probably listening. But James came on the show, and then we got Jason on here, and now Don. We've got several shows lined up, and every time we have somebody else on the show, and like Jason, I got him last minute tonight because a couple guys had something come up for work or family. I was like, can you come on? And boom, he's here. And guys, we're still having a blast and laughing. Yeah. And we I can tell you, I could sit around the table at the Outback Steakhouse with all of you guys for 5 hours, sipping whatever we want to drink, and we could just talk about anything, and we'd walk away from there, and it would be a fruitful experience. So really what it comes down to is a sense of community. And what I think our podcast does different than others is that we tend to involve everybody. We don't put ourselves on a pedestal. And not that others do. I'm not insulting others. I'm saying we make sure that we keep it humble and down to earth, because if I look at Jason Fry, I visited your site, I've looked at yours, Don, your Instagram page, and I'm in awe, and you guys just downplay yourself and stay humble, and you've got wonderful skill sets. I see that as a common thread around many knife makers, and I think that's what makes this work. And what makes it fun is because we respect each other, we're humble about what we do, and we all want other people to grow in it because we know it's a big community, whether it's a hobby or a business or somewhere in between. There's enough room for everybody. Yeah, that's what I've got. And this is when I have to drive to Arkansas. This is some great listening. I've got like 26 hours of listening material now.
That's one of the things that I noticed in this. I would call it a community, right? Community of knife makers is that most everybody is nice. Most everybody is polite. Most everybody is helpful. Most everybody wants to help you and give you some tips and some pointers, right? And that is really nice. I mean, you feel welcome, you feel wanted in there, and that is very important. It's very important. The sense of community is extremely important, and I was surprised because here in Maryland we don't have, at least as far as I know, a knife makers guild or a society or something, right? I'd been looking for it. I went online and I didn't find anything. So, but meeting you guys and later going to Blade Show, it was really eye opening.
Yeah, you
I
can still
thank
live
you.
hundreds of miles apart and still be really good friends.
Oh yeah, I thank you for putting this group together, Chip. And,
Oh, it's a team
something
effort.
else.
Team effort. Nothing's done by one person.
Yep, yep.
Everybody's brought something special. And when I say that, I certainly hope people like our friend Jason and Don and James and others continue to stay in our group, and we continue to grow and support each other. And we'll have casting calls. We got a show coming up. Who wants to be on it this week? And because people have to come and go, we've got lives outside of this. That it doesn't matter who you're listening to. You're listening to the show, and the show is about knife makers, not any one personality.
Yes.
I do like to hear myself talk. Yabba dabba do.
Hey man, you talk very well.
Elvis
Yes, you
is
do.
dead.
You're a very good speaker.
Nah. Hey, listen, speaking of very good, I want to make sure we get our last one in here, and that's the guys over at Majestic Forge. Whether you're going to get the I think it's single burner or the 3 burner. I've got the deluxe at my house, and it's a great piece of equipment. And if you're forging or heat treating with fire, it's a great tool to use. Let's go ahead and see what our friends over at Majestic have to offer.
Majestic Forge is owned and operated by Brian and Kayla Horn in Rushville, Ohio. With many years of experience manufacturing 2 to 5 burner gas forges, Majestic Forge is your #1 source for blacksmith forges, farrier forges, and specialty forges. They are dedicated to creating top-of-the-line forges at a price you can afford. Majestic Forge has supplied forges to blacksmith schools, high schools, colleges, production shops, and TV shows such as Mythbusters. And Majestic Forge is the forge of choice for televisions forged in fire. Knife makers are in luck as they offer forges that come with 2 or 3 deluxe burners. Here at Knives Templars, we are sure that you can find a USA-made Majestic Forge to suit your needs. Check out your next forge at majesticforge.com.
All right, you guys go out there and check out Majestic Forge and see what kind of deals they can do for you. It's a great company. It's a great product. Holds up well. So, guys, we've been doing this for a couple hours here, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it. Let's take a minute just to wind her down here. We always like to say, "Hey, what you got going on, Rich? What's going on?"
Oh, well, I'm actually going to be jumping on that leather pretty soon because next month I'm going out to Gulf Coast there, Alabama, and I need to get that project done. I've been dragging my hands on it long enough, and so hopefully we'll be seeing some pictures come up on the proper websites and stuff like that. And other than that, hand sanding some blades and trying not to cut my hands off in the process because I got it so thin already, and I got a long ways to go. So I think I need some chainmail gloves or something, yeah, to take this even further. I already got my thumb really, but other than that, just family life keep me busy too.
You'll need to get your domain name, Lions Pride Forge, connected with a website here soon. You're building quite an inventory. You need to get it out there so people can see it. It's cool stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
There are some gloves. I think is a cut level 5, something like that. It is cut proof level 5 or something like that you can use. Mm-hmm. It's going to keep your little butterfinger safe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I need to get me
My
some
pamper
of those,
changers.
by the way, because I have the bad habit of opening my palm or my thumb every now and then when I'm hand sanding.
Right, I'm like this.
I working in the poultry industry and having access to purchase some protective equipment, I have a pair of chainmail gloves that I wear, and occasionally, sometimes they're too bulky to wear, but I also have blue arm guards that protect my wrist and my lower forearm from any cuts there. And I had a close call is the reason I went and got those and started using tried to cut my wrist on a drill press. So regardless of what you're doing, sanding or drilling or whatever, make sure we're protecting ourselves for sure.
Absolutely.
Don, what's going on down in Florida?
Well, my wife started. she started doing the paint and painting the house inside the house. And I said, honey, I'll buy the paint. You do the painting. So she's been
Can't
doing
beat
that.
that.
Yeah,
Good luck with that.
yeah. I remember being on the road and coming home, and the inside of the house was a whole different color. I went, what in the world, honey? She goes, I just got tired of I painted. She's a good girl, but I'm fixing to start. We're going to be doing some work on the outside of the house, painting here.
Yeah.
And knife wise, I think I'm gonna start getting into that surface grinder and start doing some taper tangs. I think that's my next
I look
thing.
forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
Getting that's something different. You know, I like. That's one thing about knife making. There's so many avenues we can walk down, man.
Yes.
You got hidden tang knives. You got folding knives. You got all kind of different avenues, and that's what really intrigues me, because I won't just stay on full tang. I'll move on to other things, you know, in the knife world. But
Yeah.
that's what's really intriguing to me. But that's about all I got going on. I'm working on some knives, so having fun.
I need
guys.
you to buy one of those. I need you to buy one of those Ameribraid knife sharpeners and use it and make a video and send it to me. I'm afraid to use mine yet. I don't want to tear up a knife. I'm gonna be daddy grind a lot. No, I've got the Ameribraid sharpening attachment, and you have to run it backwards and run it slow. I just haven't pulled out a knife on it yet. But I tell you what, it's a really cool thing. It's got great potential. I saw it used at the show and it worked beautifully. I just got to get that. I haven't had anything to sharpen, but I'm going to go out and buy some gas stations or Walmart knives or something and just kind of dull them and
Just
practice
remember
on
one
those.
thing: you got VFD, use it. Running it real slow.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I built
yeah,
one
yeah.
similar to that. I have a knife sharpener that I built, and I said, you know, why not? I didn't want to do it on the. I know Eric. I watched him sharpen his knives on a 1x30,
I don't know how he does it.
and I went,
Right.
I will end up burning the edge off this thing. So I ended up building my own little thing similar to what you got. And I talked to Eric about it, but out of Ameribraid, but just turn it down to about 15%, run it backwards, and you'll be okay.
Yep. Yeah, I had tightened up all of my motor mounts, and I realized you can't do that. They've got floating motor mounts on that machine, so if you're going to run it backwards, it's got to float so you can adjust the motor. So I've got to loosen those up a little bit before I go. So, Otis here.
Got 2 knives that I'm on the drawing board right now.
Yeah.
You know my style, hidden things. I just want to make them a little bit smaller, maybe 6 inches,
Yeah.
maybe 7 inches long, like a Bowie style blade, very traditional.
Kind of like the shorter, like buck knives, little Skinner buck knives.
Yeah, something like
That'd
that.
be cool.
Yes, that's what I've been drawing. So I need to finish those drawings maybe between tomorrow and Sunday, and I'll start working on it on Sunday and see what happens. I'm still waiting, like on some of that Oleg stuff,
Yeah.
so I can put it on the handle.
Well, you'll love it when you get it.
So we'll see. And then I have a possible commission. The guy gave me, asked me for a few days for him to come up with the money for the blade. I'm gonna redraw, make it a little more user friendly. The first time that I did that particular style, I left the handle way too wide. It was like almost 30 millimeters on the handle, so it was a really beefy handle, and I want to bring it down to around 25.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like a lot, but 5 mils makes a huge difference
Right.
on the handleability of that thing.
My visitor was very impressed with your handle work, by the way, today when he saw that knife.
Hey man, like I
it's
said,
gorgeous.
send it down my way. I'll make him one. Huh?
Not working. That's strike 2, buddy. Hey, Don, I just forgot to add. It's been such a blessing to have you on our show today. And again, you've got an open invitation to come back anytime. We throw out a casting call. Got an opening on the show this week, or we need you to come back and talk. My gosh, you can come back anytime. We'd love to have you.
Great. Just
Besides, you've got a pull.
Yeah, just give me a
Yeah,
heads
man.
up, man. Hey, if I'm available, I'll be here to help fill in somebody. That'd be great.
you've got a face for podcast as well, my friend, and we'd love to have you here anytime. God bless. Jason Fry.
All right. So
You're going to be
it's supposed
beating.
about-
You're going to be squeezing
Yeah.
some steel, yeah.
I am. It's
Hey,
supposed to be
hold
about
on,
10
hold up,
degrees
hold up,
cooler
hold up.
tomorrow, so like only 98.
Hold up there, Mr. Jason. I saw you heating up that ball bearing with the magnifying glass, man. How did that
was
go?
fun. That was
How'd
fun.
that go, huh? That works
I
great,
just had
huh?
this crazy idea to
Did-
do a little gag video.
You
with-
did that? I got to go look at it.
Yeah.
With it.
Yeah.
Pretend like I heated it up
Yeah,
with a
yeah.
magnifying glass and forged a knife just because it's fun to make fun of how hot it is. But I'm going to get up kind of early in the morning and try to get a couple of hours in the shop before it gets too hot. And then once it gets late enough, I can run the power hammer without the neighbors getting grumpy. I'll forge
you
a
have
little
a power
Damascus
hammer?
till I
Okay.
get so hot that I have to stop. So I'll probably make it 6 or
Well.
7 hours tomorrow before supper time. Anyway.
All of us having the male chromosome, there's not a one of us here that hasn't had a magnifying glass that didn't cook ants or leaves when you were a kid, right?
Well,
Of course, yeah.
And
I
you're-
did burn
They do that in
somebody's.
Brazil?
I did burn somebody's behind once. He was standing on the window looking in like this, and I came, and he had his crack exposed, and I came right there on the crack, and that little pointer he had just about jumped through the window. I was a mean kid. I wasn't burning ants, but I was burning other
That
stuff.
ain't
you
mean.
know?
That's just funny right there. That's funny. That's funny
Pay
stuff.
attention to your surroundings.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna be out in the shop tomorrow. I've my wife's working with Vacation Bible School this weekend, and I'll be playing in the shop, taking my grandson for his third haircut, and that's been an exciting experience so far. If you want to hear a kid sing during his haircut, he is a singer at 2.25 years old. So it sounds more like screaming and yelling, but he's getting used to the buzzers. But anyway, I'm just going to go out and just enjoy life, as we all should. And I want to thank everybody that continues to listen to the Knives Templars. We've got the Baker's Dozen show the next time, episode number 13. Every one of you guests, every one of you co-hosts that are on today, you're co-host, you're not guest. We are so tickled you're here, and we're so happy for the people that listen. So everybody have a blessed day, and listen to us on the next episode of the Knives Templars podcast.
Good night.
See you next time.
Good evening.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Brought to you by Porkhouse Productions. Oinky oinky oinky.